This is a series that gets your blood pumping, if you catch my drift. As the title hinted, this guy forced the Dragon Queen to bear 2 kids. He started the race at the finish line, but that comes with a price, one only the brave would pay. After that, he became the queen's slave, and the torture, cruel, dangerous, twisted, sweaty, terrifying, turned into nothing more than a chair. Its sole purpose to be a chair, like a Japanese animator's office seat. That queen wouldn't budge from that chair, let's say. This chick literally gets a kick out of draining this poor guy to the point of screwing up his daily routine. She loves watching him exhausted, barely able to walk. This is the kind of torture that would kill a man, which is why I, Memorial Chan, will offer my body to save this poor soul from his day and night grind. But that's not all. No one in the Dragon Clan can find out he isn't a real dragon because a human couldn't marry the queen and certainly not have 2 kids. Worst of all, this queen claims he can't handle her, he's too weak for a queen like her, can barely stand, and is a total runt. So he swore he'd make her lose one day, and we get to watch him claw his way back for revenge. This is the series you watch thinking, damn, I wish that was me. No more fluff, let's dive in. It all kicks off in the Silver Dragon's dungeons, where a girl approaches the 2 guards and demands a private word with the guy. Dressed tight, she's Ross Weiss, the Dragon Queen. She tells that idiot hero, now a prisoner of her clan, that he's chained, beaten to hell, and begs her to just kill her. But she slides a hand to his face with a small smile and says his death won't be quick. He hasn't suffered enough yet, and he's still a handsome, determined man. Then she scratches his face, saying she needs to shatter his drive, and a few more scars will make it perfect. He tells her to kill him and tear him apart because he's not here to chat. She licks the blood off her finger and says if they hadn't painted him as a villain, maybe he could have joined the Silver Dragon. He shoots her a look, asking if she's even worthy of someone like him. Enraged, she whips him with her tail brutally. The boy is slammed into the wall, completely shattered. She stomps on his chest and tells the damned prisoner to stop being a jerk. From his perch, he hears her declare she's no longer humanity's great hero and that he'll never take down the dragons. With a wicked grin, she tells the idiot to wake up because he'll die there like a clueless loser. Not just him, but his entire bloodline. He has no heir. Leon snarls, "Don't you dare underestimate humans." Then he coils his tail around his face and snarls, "Quit being such a stubborn bastard." As she drowns him, he tries to speak while she laughs, asking if he's finally going to beg for mercy. He spits out 2 mistakes. First, he should have never been alone with the dragon hunter. Second, he shouldn't have tasted her blood, because the moment he did, he cursed her with a blood hex. Her tail snaps free from her neck. He crashes to the ground, and she's engulfed in a black mist. What the hell is happening? He panics, his legs give out, and he cries out, asking what's wrong with his body. The whole field is ablaze. He snarls at Her Majesty, "I'll spend the rest of my damned life in agony." She snarls, bites with fury, and lunges at him. This time, she unleashes a lethal double strike that slams him to the ground with brutal force. The protagonist cowers, terrified as the cruel villainess towers over him, ready to end him. She makes the first move, and the battle erupts. After 2 halves, over an hour of combat, the ball slams into the net and she snaps awake, terrified, demanding to know where she is and what the hell happened. She whirls around, demanding he tell her what he did. It's really about what she did to him, even though he was the one who set the curse loose. He claims the technique he used forged a soul link between them. When he dies, that's it, she'll be ripped apart by endless agony. She snarls, "Stop lying. What the hell did you do?" What was that? He plays the innocent fool, saying he only triggered the cursed mark. She's the one who lost it and lunged at him. She snaps, "Shut up. I never wanted any of this." While he asks, aren't dragons supposed to be monogamous? When he dies, he'll never find another mate or sire and heir. No offspring, no future. And the ultimate humiliation? Owning up that a dragon woman lost her virginity to a dragon hunter. The clan will never respect her. His life is basically over, and he smirks. Perfect. He won't leave a successor either. Holding back, she slaps the protagonist, who's already collapsing, and snarls, "You're going to die." Soon, that curse turned him into an Oscuman. He crawls. The guy lived his dream, fought the Dragon Queen before dying and vanished, but she reappears, calling him a filthy human and swearing revenge, wanting him to keep dying. She won't let a con like him walk free. She slashes his chest. Next chapter. He lies on the bed, and the tale calls him a legendary dragon hunter. By 5, he was already killing wild dogs that preyed on women. At 10, he entered the Imperial Academy, and 4 years later graduated as the youngest ever. By 15, he was the strongest dragon hunter, Victoria's hope, until the Silver Clan seized him. 2 years after that mess, he jolts awake in a lavish bed, hand on his chest, trying to figure out where the hell he is. He scans the opulent room, and a head pops up in the doorway, a little girl, asking, "Did you finally wake up?" Lion just thinks she's cute, rubbing his face and muttering, "I have no idea idea what the hell happened. Maybe he gave humanity so much that he's in heaven and she's an angel. He leans in, asks the girl her name. She introduces herself as Luna. He calls the name pretty, though a little odd, an angel with black and white hair. She says her mother told her it means moon. He introduces himself as Lion, and she nods. I know that means lion. He's left bewildered. How do you know that? She says her mother told her. Then she asks what her mother's name is. The girl answers Ross Weiss. So yeah, the guy played a match and scored. Panicking, he asks who she is to her, and she says it's her dad. He freezes, confused, demanding, what the hell do you mean by Ross Weiss? Then he looks to the side and sees Ross Weiss storming in with Moon hugging her, telling Mom Dad finally woke up. Ross Weiss looks at him and says, yeah, Leo's up and at him. The girl says her mom must be thrilled, visiting every day. Rose Wise smirks and says, sure, you're right. But the protagonist knows she's lying. Rose Wise strokes the girl and says she needs to talk to his father alone. Instantly, the protagonist demands answers. Ma'am, that's not my daughter, but she insists she is his biological child. The girl wheels her tail for everything. Watch her twist the knob in a twisted way. Slam the door while the protagonist mutters he should hate her. So why the hell did she give birth to that kid? She doesn't want to pay child support. Rasveza retorts that he slept for 2 years, as if letting his past slide. He asks, you think I wanted that? She acts like she doesn't buy it in. He says, no, they can't coexist. I'd never lay a finger on her if I had a choice. She steps close, asking if touching her is torture. That agile tail throws him off balance, and she strikes again. She rips his clothes, snarling she'll etch the dragon's pattern onto him. He begs her to stop, but she brands his chest, declaring him her prisoner. Even if he returns to the humans, that mark will forever brand him a traitor who bowed to his clan. He writhes, asking why she goes so far. The villain cups her mouth, saying she still doesn't get it. She wants him to live in shame forever, to be humiliated beyond measure. Protagonist feels something off, like he's about to lose his mind again, and she claws onto him, declaring his humiliation starts now. The scene cuts to the Silver Castle's courtyard, where two maids gossip that the queen's in a good mood because her husband finally woke from his coma. The protagonist is exhausted, realizing that woman actually claims he's her husband, and the worst part is he looks drained because she forced him to play all night. He had to push on with no backup plan. She kept ordering him to move faster, and he grumbles his waist is wrecked from sitting in that chair forever. But he swears he won't stay in that castle. He wasn't born to be a player, a professional. Then he spots 4 dragons posted at the gate. He figures that's not many guards for the Silver Dragon's keep. Everything feels way too calm. Then he spots a hole in the corner and wonders if it's a trap. But he just woke up. He can't think straight after so many matches and knees out fast. He starts walking away, bidding farewell. You perverted Queen Hyun might be cute, but you can keep her. But as he makes his escape, Gu-hoon is off in the distance, telling Mom he's digging a hole like a dog, while Mom lounges in a bikini with that massive tail. Moon asks if Mom's gonna reel him back in, and Roswise says you can't say reel. That's rude to his dad. The kid asks what word he uses, and Roswise says he'll just go fetch him again. After a bit, the protagonist sprints with everything he's got. He knows the right direction and is certain the queen won't catch him. He's on the brink of the human border when she swoops in out of nowhere, literally like a dragon. She rockets beside him, shouting she's faster than hell, slams into him, and blocks his path while he yells at her to quit playing games. She sneers, calling it disappointing. She left only a handful of guards and a thin escape route just to test him. Leon admits he saw the trap, but had no choice. She retorts, telling him to picture what'll happen when humans spot the Dragon Clan mark on his chest. Leon shrugs, saying he doesn't give a damn. He'll reset his life as a normal man, better than being tortured by her. The queen roars that he can't appreciate her kindness, then whips her tail, snatches him, and drags him elsewhere. Later, she releases him, and he crashes into a thicket, snapping branches and smashing his head. He scrambles up, sees a human city on the horizon, perfect backdrop for his next words. He tells her, yeah, that's the human empire. You really think you can just walk back? You need to understand there's no turning back, even if you're close. Then the mark on his chest flares. She admits she forgot to mention that as long as that brand burns, any proximity will trigger a reaction, forcing him to want to play again, and she dragged him here so it would unfold in front of his hometown. He asks, wait, you brought me here for that? She says she wants him to burn with shame as he walks past his own home. He slaps his chest, declaring he won't lose faith over this. He'll bide his time and repay her double for every ounce of humiliation. Strangely, she seems to enjoy it, blushing, nodding fast, clinging to him, promising she'll wait for him, alive or dead. She humiliated him in front of his city, and he's still suffering because of it. She's smug and relaxed, saying she's satisfied with her performance while he weeps. She ribs him, offering to bring him back every month to tour the city. He stands, calling her nothing nothing but a dragon queen looking to squeeze the poor bastard. She laughs, that's me, and adds that it's time to go home. Her daughter's waiting. He tells her he can go home because her daughter's waiting. He tells her he can leave, and as a dragon hunter, there's no way he'll go with her. He'll walk alone. She explains flying would take 3 hours, but on foot is over 10 days, maybe half a month. He says 10 days is nothing for human endurance. She replies that fine, she'll see how long he can hold out. After a while, the protagonist is tiring. She keeps pestering him, asking if he'll surrender or needs help. He snaps, no way, I don't need you. Just as she's about to call him stubborn, an army of dragon hunters bursts onto the scene. He lights up. Those guys could wipe her out, but she stands there, seething with pure hatred, and he spots Rose Wise right beside him. If they call those hunters, everyone dies. So one soldier asks if they're lost. The uneasy protagonist replies, no, just taking a casual stroll, refusing to drag innocence into this, though the soldier seems like a decent guy. The protagonist thanks him and says, no, it's fine. We can hold our own. We'll be fine. Good luck out there. Walker rides up, swears the kid looks familiar like they've met before, but the protagonist spots that damned Ross is gearing up right beside them. He grabs her wrist, pulls her close, and snarls that Walker must be mistaking him for someone else. He's got a plain face. People always mix him up. He begs her to back him up, and she clings. Maybe. Walker smirks. Since you two are tangled in your little romance, I won't butt in. So yeah, he mounts his horse and rides off. Ross asks how long he'll keep hugging her just to keep up the charade. The protagonist walks away, and she calls it disgusting. Even if they have a kid, she'll never be his wife. He says he never meant to be her husband either, just said it to get the guy to scram. She whirls around, furious, telling him to keep moving, though his hand throbs from how hard she crushed it. He's weak too. That CSGO marathon drained him. She snarls that he's too fragile to be human, yanks his shirt and hurls him onto her back. He flies off. The next morning at the castle, he wakes to the chubby kid shouting, Dad. He asks how he got here. She says Mom brought him back. He can't fathom why she captured him again. He spots his hand wrapped in bandages. Mewin beams, proud, claiming she did the wrapping herself, admiring how cute it looks. He recalls dragon experts saying dragonlings are violent from birth, yet Mewin looks nothing hostile. Maybe she's a hybrid. He smirks. You're truly amazing. He calls her adorable, but warns that when she grows up, she better not end up like her mother. Just then, Rose appears at the door. She asks what's wrong with being like her. He turns, says it's nothing. Mewin looks proud, showing his mom she's looking after Dad. Ross says she did exactly what she was supposed to. The daughter thanks her while Dad assumes Mom's being strict, apparently. Diawan tells Mewin to hide in the garden and he'll come find her after counting to 100. She lights up, asks if he's really going to play, and he nods. She's not as bad as her mom. The little girl darts off, and he tells her not to count so fast. He then calls Ross, asking if he's being too hard on the girl. She sits on the bed, saying that's the bare minimum to raise strong warriors, but he retorts that she's not fully a dragon and she's a sweet girl, so it makes no sense. Ross snaps that sweet is an insult when it comes to dragons. Ross says sweet is an insult for dragons, but he retorts that even Ross can be sweet when she wants to, which lights her up. She glares, yanks him close, and snarls that he's nothing but a slave, just a punching bag for her rage, so he better watch his mouth, and he stands there looking like he's about to break down. She reminds him that she's the dragon queen with a kingdom to run, and that he'll be looking after her daughter because he loves her so much. He glances aside, spots Mun hiding, scoffs at how obvious her cover is, points and shouts, Mun, I found you, but she stays stone cold. Noticing her angry little face, he apologizes for keeping her waiting, only for her to bolt, him chasing, and she vanishes into thin air. He mutters that her moves are impossible to read. Suddenly, she reappears behind him and smacks him with a headbutt. He blinks. Wait, didn't you just go this way? She snaps, no, you weren't looking for me. I came looking for you. He starts to think he's losing his mind as she grabs and yanks him. He doesn't see another pair of eyes watching. It's like kicking a ball and scoring 2 goals at once. How the hell does that happen? He watches the other kid drawing, thinks at least she's quiet and calm, and vows to get her out of that monster mother's claws. She shows him a family portrait. What the hell is this? Why are there 2 daughters? He asks. That's my sister, she replies, and his blood runs cold. He can't believe the curse she threw at that woman was strong enough to spawn 2 creatures in one womb. He scratches his head, recalling the garden incident. He'd called the wrong girl Moon, so she must have been mad, but Moon says no. She just thinks her sister's shy because she hasn't met Dad properly yet. He falls into thought, realizing Ross Weiss is to blame for keeping his daughter hidden. Meanwhile, Ross is hunched over his desk when the protagonist bursts in. She snaps, where the hell is Moon? He replies he was playing with his sister, about to tell Ross he has another daughter. Ross cackles, looks like you didn't know. He mocks her, giving birth's a nightmare. You should be grateful I gave you 2. He promises to carve his name into the imperial family tree when he returns to the empire. Ross laughs. I have no clue why you kept the other kid a secret. He retorts that she's jealous of how close he is to Moon, which is why she kept Noah away from her dad. Ross asks if he really wants to meet the girl. He says, hell yes, she's my daughter. I'll build a proper bond. Ross leans back, elbows on the desk. Fine, just don't come crying later. In the kitchen, the protagonist grips a knife, declaring that today he'll make her pay. He vows she'll regret it. He decides to whip up a meal for his daughters, convinced it'll turn out perfect. As he slams away, the maids watch and mutter that he's a damn prodigy. Incredible just ripped himself out of a coma, still sick, and he still gives a damn about his family. Then they salute His Majesty, who tells them they can skip dinner tonight and get some rest. The protagonist has the table laid out, declaring they've hit the perfect timing. Moon bursts in smiling, and he beams. I'm about to win her over with Dad's flavors, while Noah stands off to the side, clearly unimpressed. The protagonist realizes Ross is behind this. She knew the girl would react that way. Ross tells Noah to greet her father, and she steps forward. I'm Noah Melka. She's 1 year and 2 months old. Legend says dragons are immortal and grow far faster than human. He tries to make a good impression. Hey, Noah, I'm a lion. Yeah, I'm your dad. Sounds scary, huh? She flat out refuses to talk to him, while Mon tells her sister to chat more with Dad. Noah scoffs. He looks like a wreck. How the hell can that be my father? It hits him hard. He thought this dinner would be the perfect moment, but the air's thick with tension. The two girls look alike, yet they have completely different personalities. He asks Noah if the food's any good, and she snaps, nope, this meat's tough as a brick, hard to chew. Ross snorts, mocking him as a total waste, while Noah stays stone cold, knowing exactly why everyone's cracking up. Ross chirps, I'm thrilled about this family get-together, then asks, you happy? He nods. Hell yeah, being with my girls is the best. Moon pipes up, so you're gonna eat with us every damn day now? He says yes, though inside he's thinking he can't keep sharing meals with that damn dragon wife forever. But Noah cuts in, nope, I gotta hit the books and prep for the Young Dragons department at St. Academy. Rose retorts, that school's for 4 to 5-year-old drakes, so you've got time. Why so jittery? He asks. Noah snaps, I'm itching to start taking down every dragon hunter. The protagonist realizes he's now target number 1, tries to sway her. They call them dragon hunters for a reason. They're extremely dangerous. But he tells her to stop treating her like a kid, which he finds absurd. Ross says the idea's perfect. The faster she learns, the sooner she can start slaying them. Does Lyon even have a damn reason to hold her back? She knows if she pushes back, Ross will hate her to hell, so she plays it cool, nudging things inch by inch. She tells him no, it's fine, but she's already read his game, using that chick to mess with her head at dinner, mentally, during dinner. Dill, she can bide her time, she'll get her back soon. Ross declares that, with Dad's blessing, Noah's slated for the academy entrance test in a month, and Dad's gonna train her while Ross is buried in work. The two girls start shoving each other, and then the lead calls out to Ross Wise, telling him she's scrubbing the plates. Ross brushes it off, the servants will take care of it, but he demands that when dinner's done, the whole clan cleans up together. Doesn't he give a damn about keeping the house in sync? He says once dinner's over, the entire family cleans together. Doesn't he care about a harmonious home? Ross looks like he's about to blow, but when he sees the girls getting fired up, he says it's fine. Girls pledge to help, but suddenly Noah grabs Mun like she's about to drag her away. Are we washing dishes? Ross asks. Husband, when are you gonna help me with the plates? I'm doing this solo, she snaps, while he just sits there, arms crossed, doing jack shit, asking if he forgot what went down 2 years ago. He can never be left alone with a trained dragon hunter. Then the mark flashes on the girl. She asks what he thinks he's doing. He says last time he took advantage of her fatigue and manipulated her, but this time it'll be different. She whips her tail to fight, which he doesn't want, but he blocks and grabs her. He asks if she thinks she's trying to run. As always, the mark ignites the floor, but she's exhausted, collapsed, powerless. He boasts he's been studying dragon biology. She knows her tail is ultra sensitive. The moment he grabs it, she weakens and can't move. She's been bragging daily about being a silver dragon that conquers everything, but has she ever been controlled? Now he's the one pulling the strings. The floor keeps burning as she begs him to release her tail, but he says since he woke up, he's only humiliated her over and over, playing with her. Today will be different. Just as he makes that face, they hear something behind them. The maids ask if His Majesty's romantic night is over, step into the kitchen, see everything spotless, and look baffled. Meanwhile, the protagonist hides in the pantry, grabbing the raging queen from behind, whisper to keep quiet or they'd be caught in a damn embarrassment. She stays silent while he declares the wife finally obey it, looking way hotter this way. Then, 3 days later, what the hell? The daughters try to wake him, saying he's been out for 3 days. Dead. One of them kicks him hard. Must be Noah, right? Sure. She kicks him in the face, and he just yawns, saying it hurts, and she's convinced the bastard's still alive. The protagonist protagonist wonders why this kid treats her dad like that. Meanwhile, Muin's beaming, telling her mom-dad finally woke up. Lyon sits up demanding to know how he passed out, and Ross says he won't remember. Then the kid recalls that after a bit of cardio, lying flat, she smashed his face and he blacked out. If the poor fool were a normal human, he'd actually be dead. Yeah, but as he says that, he looks at her thinking she's damn gorgeous. Then the daughters ask if something happened, and he says no, he was just staring at his mom. Ross drops something. The kid snatches it up and puts it on his head, saying she looks beautiful. But she retorts, he's probably told that to a lot of women. He claims that's not true. When he was a kid, he knew how to take care of his uncle's donkey. Muin asks what a donkey is, and he explains it's an animal, basically a dragon with 2 huge ears and a tail, and it whines when it doesn't like stuff. Ross elbows him in the gut and he nearly dies. Then he turns to the girls and says, today's lesson is learning to write their names, and Dad's gonna help. One's thrilled, the other's pissed. As always, Ross warns the kid that his sister's coming over, and to make sure she doesn't see his daughter. The protagonist watches the situation and asks why he doesn't want the family to know about his family. She grabs his ear and tells Leon to remember he's now a Dragon Clan dragon, a sleeper who woke from a coma. His surname is now Kaz McDunn, and he'd better use that name if he runs into his sister. In Zedman, that's SC Sense with his sister. She walks away while he thinks there's no way he'll obey her. He'll make sure she's humiliated in front of his sister. Yeah, he's ready to bet his life on it. Later, he's teaching the kids to write their names, shows both, tells them to memorize it and write it over and over. Noah says his handwriting sucks. When Mom writes, it looks way prettier. He ignores it and Munin asks what Dad said. He says he's going to fetch something with Mom and they need to stay on top of his work. Noah thinks his dad's a total idiot. Munin comes over saying he looks happy and Noah says no he's not, just blushing. Isabel, goddammit, another get up. That skin tight fit has to be a dragon thing. Her clothes are practically painted on her flesh, as if that could ever change. Without missing a beat, Ross pulls her sister into a hug. Whining has been forever. Isabel notes Ross looks healthier, but where the hell is the husband who snapped out of his coma? Ross, looking uneasy, mutters she's feeling lousy and can't go see her. Isabel sighs, pouting that she wanted to meet the dragon who stole her sister. Usually dragons only tie the knot for political gain. Political, yet Ross didn't just rush into marriage. She pumped out a litter of kids. Still uneasy, Ross claims she feels nothing, now or ever. Kids don't equal a solid match, and her sister just sees Ross as stubborn as ever. As they jab, the protagonist watches from a distance. That sister's finally grown, and the troublemaker wants to gauge Dragon Mark's way. Out by the garden, Isabel notes the territory's been shaky. Ross snaps, asking if it's Constantine. That bastard should have disappeared ages ago. Isabel folds her arms, calling him temperamental, trying to exploit and push his borders, when suddenly Pink fires the mark. Isabel asks what that was, semicolon. Ross brushes it off, but she knows it's that cursed dragon hunter. Isabel launches into a spiel about prevention and shoring up the borders, but Ross is on the brink of exploding. Isabel whirls around, demanding what the hell happened. Ross is sweating, cold as ice. She says she just remembers something crucial and will be back in 20 minutes. Isabel asks if she wants company, but Ross snaps, no. Still, Isabel spots the young dragon's mark and realizes this could be a hell of a ride. The protagonist stands there, cool as a cucumber, wondering how long she can hold out. She endures, then flings the door open and he bolts in. He's in fast. She grabs him, demanding to know if he triggered the mark to screw her over in front of her sister. Out of nowhere, she toys with his mind, suddenly apologizing for not seeing him. He's baffled, face flushed red, asking what the hell she's talking about, and she realizes the trick worked. Now it's easy to mess with you, she snarls at the damned prisoner. Shut the hell up. He's just a defeated trash who should keep his thoughts to himself. But inside, she knows he came to beat her up and got duped by words. She spins, vowing next time she won't let him slip away. Pulling faces, convinced the mark's effect is a goddamn powerhouse. One line, and the whole thing erupts. Then she starts feeling the pull too, wondering why the mark makes her heart race. The idiot slaps himself, muttering he can't have those twisted thoughts. On top of that, she has to cover for the girls still trying to write their names. In the next chapter, Isabel says it was cool and bounces. Ross Wise does the same, telling her to watch her step on the road. Isabel shappa shifts, declaring next time she wants to see Ross's husband, and everyone scrams. Ross erupts, vowing that damned dragon hunter will learn a lesson tonight. While the poor kid's a mess and she rattles on about him as she reads bedtime stories to the young dragons and tucks them in. The moment he steps out of the room, she storms in, demanding where he thinks he's headed. All stiff, asks if his sister left. She just snaps that they have unfinished business. The poor kid yells no, but they haul him away. I didn't get it. it. Is this the boy's torment? Hold up, we're in the barrack. I thought something else had happened. He drags in a bucket of scalding water, asking what the hell he wants it for. Yeah, his punishment's about to get savage. She tells him he'll slave like the old days, scrubbing her feet. That's the cruel sentence for the kid. Poor lion, starting his grueling grind, thinks he's been reduced to this by that damned dragon woman. Staring at that foot, he imagines it as a wicked tool that must have trampled countless dragon hunters' dragon. But the one who ordered the service looked confused. Why the look? Does she have an idea he didn't expect? He plunges his foot into the hot water, demanding cooperation, and she kicks him straight in the chin, making him bleed. I'm not just dragging this out. He hits the floor. The cruelty doesn't stop. She stomps on him, asking if he's after revenge. He asks if she wasn't the one who asked for help cleaning her feet. She says he never learned anything. He shouldn't have dragons. He's being tortured. He tells the villainess to stop, but she shows off her lithe flexibility, flicking her fingers in impossible maneuvers. The protagonist tells himself he can't bow to this woman's tyranny. He lunges back, bragging he's tasted every meat on this planet, except dragon. She asks what the hell he thinks he's doing, and he unleashes a flawless strike, kicking off the real battle. Then it's the next morning. The daughters wake up asking why mom's limping and bruised, and why dad's face is as red as if he'd been beaten. Both shrug it off, saying it's nothing, and the mutant he thinks is weird. Now they're in the garden, the hero standing beside her while the maids assume it's a romantic date, but the maid on the left says they don't look that close. The two exchange a sideways glance, and the hero remembers why they're doing this. Earlier, she'd invited him for a walk, saying it was necessary to keep up the facade of a prosperous family, though he knows she never takes the initiative. What's she scheming? The girls Watt and Newton. He thinks dad's a snail, can't even figure out how to take his hand. Noah tells him to back off, but the kid slips away. She grabs his hands, insisting that if they're going for a walk together, they have to hold hands. Then she says goodbye, promises to return with her sister, and pinches Noah's cheek. The hero stands rigid, his stare bewildered. He says it's unexpected, but he'll have to play along. Then he notices Ross flushing a bit while the two girls think everything's weird. And Leon realizes that Ross, who always plays the hard queen, is actually rattled. Suddenly, he remarks that Moon always calls Ross mom and him dad, like in the sweet version. Ross shrugs it off, and he calls it odd. She asks if there's really any difference between the two names. He says yes, Moon should call him mom too, so they feel closer. Rose blushes, storms off, telling him to shut up, but midway through the garden, she asks if he doesn't miss his homeland. He says it doesn't matter, she'll never let him run. She replies she won't, but she's got something to ease his homesickness, so they end up face to face with the castle's storage wing. He asks what it is. She says it's just an unnamed 4th level depot. Inside he sees piles of junk and wonders if it's all dragon loot, then spots odd trinkets that would fetch 1,000 gold coins in the human realm. She explains some things matter to her, but most are just war trophies. Leon notes she never talks about her family or the past. She retorts that he knows nothing, not even his own parents. She and her sister were raised by their grandmother. He says his life was similar, raised in an orphanage, so what exactly is she trying to show him? She opens a chest, claiming it holds something that will make him forget his worries. When he opens it, his black armor gleams. Ross hints she might want it back. As a dragon hunter, he gets worked up, almost tearing up, begging if she'll return it. She says yes, but when he touches it, it's etched with glowing runes. She looks at him and calls him an idiot for falling into another trap. Leon asks what the hell Rose Wise did. She replies she branded it with the dragon sigil that boosts attributes, activating the instant he makes contact. Hold up, she's got her mark on him and he's got hers on her, right? She laughs, saying now the sigil's on the armor too, doubling the effect. Can anyone survive that? Wait, is that the kind of mark I think it is? It's clear she's a little turned on, but she's taking it further. The poor dragon hunter gets beaten daily. She's glued to him, asking if he acted right. He shouts, demanding whether his claim of not knowing his parents and his mom was a lie. She says no, it was true, but it doesn't change what she'll do now. Yesterday, he vowed to wrest control from her, but he'll never pull it off. She's the one who runs the show. She slashes at him with the dragon sigil, and he loses again. Life's beating him hard. The kid snaps awake, skips breakfast, and is already on round 2. After everything, it dragged on for hours. She eyes him, smirks as he asks what she's looking at. She says she's changed a lot in 2 years. Once riddled with scars, now her face looks seasoned. She turns away, declaring she won't fall for his game again. She laughs while getting dressed, bragging she's smarter now, just a shame her body's grown weak. She drags him down, saying he can't handle a damn thing. Yeah, he used to be a top dragon hunter, and now he just sleeps and eats. Eat and sleep. Next morning, he jolts awake, utterly exhausted. Ross calls his husband, complaining he barely slept. He refuses to name who's at fault, then spots Noah right beside him. Ross says the academy's exam is brutal, so he'll have to feed Noah the knowledge. It's the only thing he's been good for lately. His performance elsewhere is a disaster master? Damn, he's being humiliated. He glares at Ross, promising he'll get the kid through the testing, then make her pay. Ross says he's fine with the deal if he can actually pull it off, but nothing too extreme. He just says the bargain sealed as Ross walks away laughing, telling him not to overexert himself because he can't handle it. Damn. Then Noah asks why they argue so much. He says it's just a different way of talking, but notices Noah called Ross's mom and asks if she likes being called that. Noah gets uncomfortable, stays silent, but smirks, saying he knew she liked it, so Noah blushes and says they should start to study. The scene shifts to the kid's study room. He's flipping through papers when Rose shows up, asking why he's still up so late. He explains Noah picks up stuff too fast, so he has to plan what he'll teach her. He's sure he can pass with just a month of study. Ross says it's obvious since his daughter looks just like her, but he seriously doubts that. He boasts he graduated a prodigy, snagged first place in every written and practical dragon hunter test. Even after he left, he still wore every top-tier medal, and the damn queen, what exact trophies did she win? Ross feels a twinge of shame, knowing the bastard was a brutal dragon hunter, but had no clue he aced the academy. He then asks how someone so smart ended up a prisoner. He runs a finger along the bars, saying he only lost once, and that was enough to land him in this miserable hole. Then, out of nowhere, he spots some chilies and asks what they're for. He says he brought them to keep him awake. She tries to warn him they're dragon chilies, not human, but it's too late. He bites one and instantly starts breathing fire, scrambling for water. She grabs his face, expecting to wipe his tongue on the second, but instead just cools his cheeks, and they both end up embarrassed. She pulls so many crazy stunts that every time she does something, she seems to go from 0 to 100, but this time it was just normal. She leaves and he stays, haunted by the fleeting wish that she'd keep touching his face. Just the thought keeps him up, so he has to keep studying to claw back his powers. Yeah, right. He pretends to teach his daughter, but he's really plotting his escape, the damn genius. He dives into the red dragon fruit, lion's mane herb, some rare artifact, and when he spots a picture of black pills, he swears they'll do the trick. The next morning, he calls Noah, asks what grade he thinks he got on the exam. The poor kid guesses 50, but he tells her it was 62, higher than expected. She bristles a bit, realizing that for someone who only studied one day, it was decent, yet she set the bar way higher. It's funny, she's not even 2, should be playing with toys, yet she decided to hit the books, so there's nothing he can do. He pets her, tells her the score isn't bad, now they'll focus on the missed questions, but she suddenly starts coughing. Looks like she ate more chili after Ross left to stay awake, and now her throat is shot. Earlier, Ross was telling Noah that his dad was grinding hard to draft a study plan. He's a weak-ass idiot, but maybe that's the only thing he's good at doing. Noah knows she chowed down chili to stay awake, so he hands her a little box of stuff. He asks if it's a gift from his daughter, and she says no. Her mom told her to give it to him. It's not hers. He's sure it's not from Ross, already thinking they're practically twins. She pops the recovery candies, and they hit the books again. The next day at the castle, the women storm the kitchen, announcing they've brought the ingredients he asked for. The genius is set on brewing the recovery pill, but he demanded a ton of extra junk to disguise it, so it won't be obvious. He needs to force that dragon's might. The book made it sound easy, and the components weren't hard to track, yet it warned the success rate was low. He grinds everything, mixes the bat, tosses it in the cauldron, stirs, and hours later, it all blows up. He follows the tome to the letter, but during the purification, when he separates the medicine, it simply won't work. It's something about the temperature being way too high and the failure rate too low, so it never purifies. And the manual stirring he's doing isn't cutting it. He needs a pro-level setup. Remember the old master who taught that when your path stalls, you gotta hunt for a new way. He begins to wonder if there's another way to split the residue, sees the storm raging outside, rain, lightning, and realizes he's got an hour for a technique called electrolysis that strips impurities far better than fire. He can distill it with his magic, and even with just a flicker of his power, he can generate a few sparks. Half an hour later, he pulls the damn pill together. He's proud, bragging it was a breeze to whip up, until Muna pops in asking what the hell he's up to. He claims it's something awesome, and she'll see soon, but he blurted out without realizing she was watching, so he freaks and shoves it away, muttering it's nothing important. She wants to know if it's candy or what the hell he's hiding. He says no, it's medicine for his mother. Moon asks if his mom is sick. He rubs her head, changes the subject and slips it into his pocket. Then Moon tells him to keep watching over Ross. He grins and says sure, that's the job, like a dad, but inside he knows once she's back, he'll guard her tight. Yeah, you can get all dramatic, but you know exactly what kind of care he means. Lying in bed, he figures that could be a hell of a risk. Since it's a dragon power restoration recipe, he hesitates, and then Ross bursts through the door, asking what's going on. She says she heard Moon say he cooked up something weird to heal her, and it looks like chocolate. He in shock. Is that kid really his? He bolted to spread the gossip in 10 seconds flat. Rose steps up, telling him to chill, impressed he can crank out potions in such a back alley lab. What did he pull? She already knows that even if he stays silent, she'll end up swallowing it. So he just slides it over to her. She hails him, saying he's got real talent. Pulling a trick with the bare bones tools they have shows he's got skill with weapons and a knack for learning. He's stunned. Why's she laying it on him? Then she says he can keep it anyway, cause you cannot even eat that thing. He asks why, and she says she warned Tabo Wada. He tells her a dragon supplement is way too potent for a mortal. Yeah, right? People out there pop horse grade stuff and bulk up, you'll be fine. She tells him not to swallow it, he won't survive the kick. He boasts he's slain countless real dragons, so the pill won't touch him, and he chugs it down, telling her to stop underestimating him. She panics, asking if he's insane, as the effect slams him hard. She says she's losing it, she has no healing magic. She throws up a magic circle, trying to reverse the drug's effect, but it looks like she's having some kind of episode. Smoke billows, lightning crackles from him. He's lit up, shouting he'll prove human grit and detonation. It's pouring outside. Outside, he's basically turned into a live wire. Ross is baffled why he's zapping his own body. The pill rush hit, and he nearly blacks out. She lays him down, tells him to stay put while she calls a doctor, but he darts straight for his tail. This time, she doesn't seem as rattled and asks what he thinks he's doing. He rubs against her, asking where his beautiful wife is headed. She freaks out, shoves him, telling him to drop it right now, but he keeps calling her my wife over and over, begging her not to leave. She doesn't get it. Dragon's strength shouldn't cause confusion. It's supposed to toughen the body. Did the magic he used. The way he did it, twist the effect. Still, she eases up a bit, thinking he's acting like a total moron, but at least he doesn't look like he's dying. He keeps on repeating. She tells him to answer, eyes him, and says it's time for another kid. The family's gotta grow. She tells him to drop his tail and asks what the hell he's talking about. He keeps pushing, saying it's time for a third child. She decides that while he's acting like a jackass, she'll just play along. She says fine, the third, the fourth, the fifth. He begs her to go back to his homeland. She agrees, they'll visit, and he celebrate. Rose is confused. Why is he acting like a kid? He leans in to kiss her, calling her the best, but she suddenly shoves him and lands a punch square in his face, sending him sprawling onto the bed. She thinks she hurt him, but he says he feels something strange. That's when he sees the dragon's mark flare up. She pulls his shirt up, sees it's lit up on him too, and now it's all over. She promised a third child, and he lunges at her, clearly primed for a showdown. He starts sniffing her, his tail, and yeah, she shoves him, saying he drags her across the floor all day and should be disgusted. But now he's turned into a charming chatterbox. Shut your mouth, you look insanely gorgeous today. She's breathtakingly beautiful, even though she's the type to complain, and Ross, for some twisted reason, refuses to reject that raw intensity. One flash of red here, another there, a little movement and that's it. Next chapter, he wakes up in bed the next morning, and she's staring at him like a demon, not even asking if he's awake. He, clearly terrified, asks why she's there and why his body hurts so bad. He says his head's a mess. What the hell happened? Fresh marks scar his leg, and she asks if he really can't remember anything. A dragon hunter shouldn't forget that. He's covered in scars. Eon is in shock. Was he the one who left those bite marks? Then his memory flickers. He yells, "What the hell was that?" And she laughed, reminding him that last night he was begging her. He kept whining, just one more time. Babe, please help me. He tells her to shut up, that he doesn't need to repeat it now he finally remembers. He throws on clothes, thinking the ritual would boost his health, and rub it in her face that she's weak, never imagining the side effect would land him in this mess. He asks if he hurt her. She says no, she's fine. Suddenly, he's all cocky. See how badass my body is. Don't tell me I can't handle it next time. Yeah, whatever, she's still the winner. She woke up before him, looks flawless, locks eyes on him, and he shivers. She grabs his chin, telling him if he'd done a little better last night, he should keep it up. Leon realizes she's treating him like a job, then notes that Noah calling her mom is settled, and he's won. So what does he want? He says he wants her to send someone to check on his master and the master's wife in the Empire. Ross replies, sure, dragons aren't great at infiltration, but I'll give it a shot. He gets fired up, then on the second turn, says he's grateful. In the Silver Dragon Garden, he's hunched over a table with Noah, and she asks if he's sick. He says, no, I'm fine. Turns out it was Mewen bragging she heard she took some miracle medicine from her mom yesterday, so she can't keep whining about being sick. The protagonist wonders, why would his mother say that to her daughter? Where's his dignity? She sees blood spilling from his mouth and asks if he needs more medicine. He tells her to shut up and suggests they change the subject, but she grabs him and says he's got to take better care of himself. She can't live without him, so she won't let him die. He gently strokes her and says, don't worry, he's fine, and Ollie's gonna make him a new toy. She lights up, and he whips out a Rubik's Cube right there. He's thinking about how back in the old classes, he learned mechanics, machines, all that. He never imagined he'd use it to become Wastu, or as you could. Nisa does this to pull something like that off, but suddenly he feels something odd, and when he looks behind him, there's nothing. Moon asks what that was, and he says it was nothing, yet for a moment, he felt a dragon's gaze on him. Maybe Noah trying to join in, or maybe she was jealous. Later that night, we see Noah watching Moon as he sleeps, the Rubik's Cube sitting on his nightstand. She snatches it, calls the toy stupid, and says she doesn't want to play, but then she starts fiddling with it, a quiet smile spreading because he made it for her. The next morning, Munin catches Noah stashing something under the bed, decides to investigate and uncover what her sister's been up to. He finds the cube, shards of the protagonist's armor, everything he's crafted for her. Munin realizes Noah had a thing for Leon, and then Noah snatches everything from her hands, pins her down, and orders her to stop snooping. The next chapter introduces St. Heat Academy, a dragon nobility school for the elite, a place that only admits those from proper bloodlines who live by draconic ideals. That's why Ross Wise has to take the family on a trip, snap some photos, and make them look like a normal family. She lands, Myung slides in with the protagonist helping her, and she's over the moon, saying she can't wait for him to become a dragon. The protagonist replies, sure, just wait a bit longer. Off to the side, Noah asks if he can't do it. He looks uncomfortable, glances at Rose Wise for a cue, and she explains his father's body hasn't healed yet, so he can't shift forms for now, but once he's back, he'll be massive. Mun asks again if it's okay. She tells him to recover, and he says he'll try. Then they all head into town, and the townsfolk stare at the daughters, calling them cute. The protagonist trembles. Rose looks baffled. Why is he acting like that? It's the first time he's seen so many dragons together. She asks if he's scared. He says no. He's actually thrilled. The streets littered with first and second class medals. Anyone watching would think he's about to start hunting them all. Rose starts to worry. They step into a shop, and the staff declares it's an honor to serve their family. The daughters sprint, shouting they want to see dragon photos. Leon looks baffled. If she's the dragon queen, why does she have to show up in person for pictures? She explains the floating city dragons owe allegiance to no clan. He laughs, says her title means jack shit, then steps on her foot. She warns him his rank towers over his. Meanwhile, the old crone declares snapping the queen's picture in honor, then asks about her husband's tail. Rose admits she has one, a short tail she hates to flaunt, so she tucks it into her pants. She once offered him a big fake tail, but he turned it down. The old hag summons them. Moments later, the girls are changing, and the protagonist is in a suit. The assistant gushes, you look sharp. He asks Noah. She says it's fine. He gives her a pat. Then Ross strides out in full formal wear. The protagonist flushes. She asks what's up. Like a fool, he blurted that it just doesn't fit, just a little. She retorts that it looked better with the tail. He thinks she'd never wear one. Then the daughter calls them. The crone orders everyone to get ready, and he stands off to the side, striking the longest pose possible. He even shapes a tiny heart with his tail. Flash forward to graduation. Every girl clamors for a photo with him, but he keeps insisting he has to shoe his master's pony, leaving the master baffled by this kid. Later, the old lady announces the photo development will take 6 hours. 6 freaking hours. So they have to wander the city. The girls sprint, and he mutters he never imagined spending a normal day with her. He explains they need the picture of a perfect family, so Noah can get into the academy. The daughter spots plush bears at a balloon stall. The protagonist and Ross wonder what to do. Noah's already aiming, and the vendor says if she keeps practicing, she'll nail it someday. Leon steps up, calling it weird to have this in their world. Noah sighs, heartbroken that everything's gone. The protagonist muses that poor kids don't even realize these games are rigged. They always lose. Ross watches, muttering there's some magical control forcing you to miss. Reminds him of a similar rig in the human realm. The stall owner asks why they don't just try. If they blast all 10 balloons, they can snag a couple of bears. The girls want them. The old man scoffs, saying the fair's real trick is letting kids fail, then milking their parents. Pure swindle. Leon asks if the girls want the bears. They deny it, but he knows they do, so he says fine, they'll pay for 10 shots. Ross covers the cost. The protagonist readies his shot. His last time firing was at the Hunter Academy. He takes the first shot, misses spectacularly. The old man thinks the kid has no clue how impossible this is, but in the next rounds, he's already blown 5 balloons. He keeps firing, shattering everything, claiming he thought it'd be harder. Maybe it's just luck. The old man can only see it as impossible. The girls go wild, and he grabs the bears, handing them out. Ross scoops that he never takes anything seriously, but when he actually tries, there's a weird charm. Leon notices and wonders why that crazy woman's staring at him. Later, a vampire girl is cradled by her mother, begging for one of the giant bears. He recalls the furious merchant who demanded 10 more shots and won the big bear for her. Ross tells him to quit the childish crap. He asks if this doesn't make them look like the perfect family. suddenly. You didn't like it? He snapped. I already told you I don't want that bear. In his mind, the bears are just snack food that wouldn't even fill a dragon. He says that En leaves, telling her he'll hit his fourth after dinner. Night falls, and he stalks the hallway, convinced he knows why she called. If he doesn't endure one night, he'll suffer the whole week. So he's ready. He reaches the door, it's unlocked, he swings it open, and waits. Where the hell is she? He hears water, heads to another door, and finds the bathroom. Panic spike. Oh no, not again. After all these chapters, are you scared now? She emerges in a baby doll outfit, and the kid is stunned. Sure, tonight you'll be torn apart. Fine, the point is to train. Eventually, you'll learn to win this war, kid. Then there's an extra cut where they go pick up the photos. The protagonist catches a glint like a radiant shine in someone's eyes. No text provided for line 10, leaving blank as per original input. They were smitten, and both of them were clueless. No one's fallen in love here. We snap back to the present. When she climbs out of the tub, she asks if he wants it in the lounge or on the balcony. He's CL. He clumsily blurts that the balcony's insane. Anyone seeing them would be mortifying. She says it's fine. So in the lounge, he readies himself, throws himself onto the couch, and declares he's ready. But she asks what the hell he thinks he's doing. He blushes. He asks, isn't this what you wanted? She says she's been on edge lately, desperate for it, but not today. She stands up as if she expects nothing and asks, what's the deal? She explains it's Saint Academy's family assessment test. It's meant to judge the couple's chemistry, and they have to match on every. They must agree on every answer because a slip could ruin Noah's admission. Questions like, what's your favorite color? What's your partner's catchphrase? A slew of dumb stuff. He asks her favorite color. She says black, and he replies his is silver. They both stare, calling it a coincidence. She says they'll test how well they know each other. Then they compare answers, and apparently the protagonist scored way higher. The queen is stunned. He even knows how she likes to sit in a chair, how she likes her home to feel cozy. He nailed every detail. She realizes the only things he missed were mind-reading bits she never told him, so there was no way he could guess. She thinks maybe she needs to spill a bit more, while the protagonist notices she can't stop staring. Is she mad just because he scored higher? He tries to placate her, saying they haven't known each other that long. So nailing a high score is tough, but for Noah's sake, they should get to know each other. Rose turns shy, slaps him in the face, and snarls, hurry up and give me the right answers. A week of answering question after question passes, and they finally hit 80 points. The protagonist is convinced the evaluation will be a breeze. He stands up, declares there's nothing left to do, and leaves, but she tells him the bath has a tub and she's going to soak before bed. He asks why, but has no choice. She shoves him in, and then the most obvious thing happens. He doesn't get it, but decides to use it to unwind. He has no idea the tub's basically a swamp, and suddenly wild reptiles pounce on him. No way out. Translation failed fallback, intenta negarse, pero tras un golpe, muere. On el siguiente capítulo leguen a la academia heist. Translation failed fallback, el protagonista vi arroz triste while li pregunta si necesita desahogarse. Translation failed fallback. Ella le dice que si calle y si corda una mujer on la entrada. Vesus, truncated, this chick's feeding me compliments are mocking. She grabs his hand, tells him to quit overexerting. She gives his hand a firm squeeze as the elder thinks. Well, the pair look smitten. The talk rolls on, and after a beat, the suited man announces his question time. Ross shakes her head, says she's already got the full dossier on her husband. She eyes the guy, realizing the longer they gap, the riskier it gets. Best cut this short. Then Leon fixes his stare on her, asks if she liked the stuffed bear he handed over. She's baffled what the hell's with that random question. She replies softly, I liked it. He lights up, says, all right, that's it. No more question. He grabs her hands, and that's the end. A few days later, the messenger dragon swoops in. Everyone gathers to watch, and she hails Noah for getting accepted. The family beams, kids hug, and Ross thanks the hero, promising to feast today for his aid. Then we cut straight to the entrance ceremony. Walter congratulates everyone on making the academy. This year's class is stacked with top-scoring kids. But, as always, he swears only harmonious homes breed brilliant people, so he's dragging families onto the stage to swap stories. First up, Noah Melkov and his clan are hauled up. The guy stands there with his daughter, wondering how the hell he got called. The elder said Noah snagged the top score, and they too earned the highest pair rating, so they better have something to say. He stands there thinking. He thinks, great, no way out now, time to face the music. Walter orders Noah to spill a feeling or a tip, since she nailed the top grade. Noah launches, calling his mother an unstoppable dragon, queen of everything, and swears he'll be just like her when he grows up. He throws in his sister's endless help, gratitude spilling. The heroine watches, thinking, you ain't mentioning me. Then he pivots, saying the person he thinks most is his dad, who burned the midnight oil reviewing his work. Dad stayed up all night, and without him, Noah wouldn't be here. She steps down, and the elder pats the guy on the back, back, bragging he's a natural with kids. After all, she snagged Jed first place. He should plant a quick kiss on his daughter to show some fatherly love. Out of nowhere, he freezes. Never done this before. Stiff as a board when she orders him to go ahead. He plants a sweet kiss, and the other sister clam oars up for one too, while Ross mutters, "Good thing it's not me. I have no clue what this is." Walter then preaches that this dragon clan is the perfect model for a dragon family. But now that he's kissed his daughter, he's K to kiss his wife to can't forget the wife. Seriously, does this guy expect a kiss fest on stage? What kind of academy is this? The heroine steps in for the kiss, and it looks like they haven't locked lips in 2 years. A relationship that's icy and hot at once. So she plants a kiss on his cheek, leaving him baffled. Enough, he thanks them. But the crowd finds it weird and confusing. Ross snar LS, "You trying to crush the last shred of my dignity?" She kicks him hard in the face, snarling, "You don't deserve any reward for that kiss at the ceremony. Now get on with those shoes." He slides the shoe on, mutters it's fine. She hurls another insult, "You whine, but still won't obey." He retort, "Putting that shoe on you is as easy as shoeing a donkey." She swings again, lithe and furious. She lunges, furious, but he dodges and bolts. Days later, a Leviathan dragon soars overhead, no good for battle, but built like a tank and dead slow, used for transport. It's like an alien dragon firing a laser beam, slinging the girl straight to her family. Noah almost calls the protagonist dad, but hesitates. After a while, they take a walk, and she shows him her grades and results. She says she scored a 95 in physical aptitude, and unfortunately wasn't first place, apologizing for the embarrassment. Ross says it's good enough, that's all she needs, and his sister hails him as still the top dog. The hero knows that's not the damn thing Noah wants to hear. She ripped the sprint, bench press like a beast, and nailed the pull-up. He argues that as the youngest dragon is expected. She lacks endurance, but she still slammed a 9/10 on the combat trial and owned the top win rate. She might not outmuscle the rest, but she's a tactical beast. Noah sulks, whining she heard her mother always nailed perfect scores perfect. The protagonist says that he wasn't the top kid when he first stepped into school, but he fought his way to the peak with sheer grind. Noah says that's cool, she'll push harder. Then Mun throws down, "If you're so damn strong, who would win in a scrap between you?" They each wager on themselves, duh. Then they scramble, asking what the hell he's on about. The hero declares that back in his day, whether it was melee or magic duel, nobody could touch him. Ross scoffs that those were just dumb academy skirmishes. No matter the setting, she always tops him, claiming she married him because she lost. He snaps back that she was the one who got crushed in that damn dungeon. And because of that, they've got 2 kids. She snaps, "Settle it outside." He shrugs, "Fine," while the girls are hyped, saying they don't have to watch the mess, already cracking popcorn. Noah's buzzing too. Her teacher said watching veterans clash is the best training. Ross asks if he's really sure about this. His body isn't ready to go toe-to-toe with the Dragon Queen. He admits he rarely gets a shot like this, so he'll take it. Naturally, she lays down a bet. If she wins, he grants her a wish. If he wins, she won't lay a finger on him for a month, so either way, he's screwed. But he's pumped, bragging about a whole month of vacation. The dude is, when he finally breaks free of this, they take the bet, square up like a Wild West showdown. Mayan shouts from the sidelines as the two charge at each other, and the lead throws a straight right. She blocks with both arms, whips her tail toward his chest, but he ducks it with the fluid capoeira spin. He snaps a kick, sending her stumbling back. Ross realizes he's losing the melee game and scrambles for distance. Watching her unleash a spell, he mutters that the queen looks terrified. She fires off a hail of strikes, snarling she'll win at any cost. The kid keeps dodging, and Moon snarks that dad looks doomed because he's doing nothing, while Noah spots the pure physical technique he's using to evade, noting mom leans on dragon fire, proof she doesn't trust a close quarters win. His sister is blown away by how fast he read the play, and Roswise keeps the pressure on launching another chain of explosions. He keeps retreating, telling her he won't land a hit, then slams his palms together. Flames erupt from both sides and burst. From the smoke, the protagonist rockets out like a bolt of lightning, shouting he wants a month off as he unleashes a combo, finally putting the pressure squarely on her. He was still far from regaining all his magic, yet her radio was being forced back. He needed to end the fight fast, but then he spots an opening. He sweeps her foot, sending her off balance. He declares victory and readies a block as she hits the ground, but the guy grabs her from behind and pulls her close. And a second romance flashes, then she unleashes dragon fire, scorching him and making him pay. She says he got distracted mid-fight, and he's like, wait, I won? She asks who the winner is, and this dude's playing 4-dimensional chess. He says it's a shame, but he lost. Now it clicks, he's on another level. He pretends he doesn't want her, because that only makes her crave him more. So he fought just to say he didn't want her, and still got beat. What a tragedy. Now, he has to endure another month of the queen's punishment. Call it what you will, The kid's a genius. The queen praises him, saying even armorless and magic depleted, he still threw a decent fight. He retorts that with his full power, he'd definitely win. She says it doesn't matter. He owned up to the loss, so now he has to honor the bet. That night, he's all drama with the two daughters, telling them to behave. He's so gutted about leaving them that his mom drags him away. Noah, bewildered. He demands to know why she's acting like this. He's only got one night with her, yet she pretends they're about to have him executed, saying a death would be quicker. This is a torment far worse than any execution. Mom says she read in a book that is like those insects that eat each other, and then one dies. He says, yeah, but why does she seem happy about it? Right then, Ross wise, she materializes behind him, snapping, enough of that crap. They are talking as if she were some vile bitch. She storms in, puts the two girls to bed, says goodbye, then grabs the guy and tells him she's already said her farewells. Time to go. Cut to the queen's chambers, a flood of wine everywhere, and she asks if he's not having a drop. He says no, and she reminds him he'd lost the bet. He's supposed to obey her orders. Why isn't he drinking? He turns, says he's not in the mood, thinking he has to stay sober or she'll manipulate him tonight. She humiliates him, claiming maybe he actually needs a month off to heal and become a bit more interesting. He retorts he couldn't give a damn about her jibe. Then she snatches his wine and slops it everywhere. She accidentally tells him he must own his loss, then orders him to drain the glass. He keeps slipping, thinking this is a nightmare. In a heartbeat, he goes from zero to sloshed harder than an uncle at a backyard grill, and he chugs. I'm telling you, this kid's playing 5-dimensional chess. He's faking that he doesn't want her, and the queen bites the bait. Then she snarls. That's not enough. She forces him to flash his teeth like he's at the dentist, then bites the corner of his mouth, drawing a bead of blood. He lunges to shove her away. He snarls, what the hell do you think you're doing? It's already too late, demanding, are you sure you cast a forbidden spell? She smirks. Yeah, I should know the fallout, as his eye flashes crimson, and he asks why, and she replies, ever since I used it 2 years ago, that damn sensation's been gnawing at me. He hisses, do you even realize how deadly that spell is? You'll lose your powers, and she scoffs. I tweaked the cast. The dragon barely feels it. Only the enchantment's effect will kick in. He's branded on her, and she's already etched marks on him. They're both marked. She places her hand on his, declaring she'll stop pretending she doesn't want him. She'll obey like a lapdog, begging for his command, and he crumples to the floor, broken, as she whispers. The game's only just begun. Leon, Jasmine, he's writhing, trying to hold on while she says she already knows what's coming. She produces a Sky City artifact that captures a fleeting glimpse, forces him to voice his feelings in front of a mirror, and he blurts out he wants to kiss it. Even though his mind screams, he doesn't mean it. She forces him to repeat it, and he parrots the same line, clueless why he's spewing words he despises, and the queen sneers. Pathetic. The famed dragon hunter is now crawling, begging his foe for a kiss. She snarls, not a damn one, and smacks him across the face. But the kid snaps from calm to feral, lunging forward, and the queen scoffs, you're oddly impatient, acting like a freak. With no other option, he draws his blade and dives into another skirmish. After a night-long brawl, dawn breaks. He awakens tangled in the sheet, drained, muttering that he's fallen once more into that demon woman's snare, his hunter's pride ground to dust each day, a humiliation that shatters every limit. While the queen who tormented him lies there, utterly defenseless, asleep. He lunges to rouse her, but his hand lands a soft caress instead of a slap, leaving him bewildered. Why the hell did he stroke her instead of smacking her? But it's freaking odd she doesn't stir. She's truly out cold. He wraps her forehead, smacks her, and sees the mighty queen stay dead to the world. Be that blood cursed, he tried to slap on her. When he unleashed it, she lay comatose for 2 damn years. He claimed he tweaked it, but maybe he screwed it up. Now's the perfect window to bolt. She's likely out for a week. He can swipe her potions, snatch her keys, and vanish. He starts stuffing everything into his shirt, muttering he'll head back to human land. Stuffing it all into his shirt, muttering he'll head back to human lands. When she finally wakes, and he's long gone, it'll be too damned late to turn back to human land. When she finally wakes, and he's gone, it'll be too damn late. She cracks a laugh, then the courage drains. 2 years have slipped by. What the hell is the Empire like now? She's clueless, and her capture was laced with betrayal, so she's gotta tread carefully and dig up the truth first. Roswise was snooping on her master. That was the top priority, and she can't bolt. The 2 kids are out there, so she'll linger a while longer in the dragon sanctuary, still thirsting for revenge on Roswise. A bit later, Roswise stays out cold, and one of the girls asks what the hell's going on, why she won't wake. Noah demands to know what they did all night, drinking on the balcony, chatting, and she called it chill. He grills Anna, the maid, asking if it's serious. She shrugged. No. The temple doc already ran her, says she's just weak, but otherwise fine. In the days ahead, Anna runs the clan's inner business while the queen recovers. Mutant keeps begging for Mom's return as the protagonist spots Ross Wise drenched in sweat. He'll have to mop that up later. Noah warns him, don't even think about laying a hand on his mom while she's out cold. He scoffs, saying she's overreacting. He'll just guard her. Noah bounces, promising they'll hear Mom again tomorrow, and she snaps back goodbye. He grabs a bucket of water, eyes the little monster, and just watches. Suddenly, she envisions a massive tail, but she's too weak to even flaunt it. So what the hell does she do with that thought? She ransacks her closet, strips off the old garb, fashions a hair-crafted ear, and morphs into a bunny-tailed dragon woman, blushing at the power she now wields. Then the mark flares. What are you gonna do? You're about to. She remembers she warned that any surge of desire would set the mark off, and she starts beating herself. She mutters a prayer, and the mark fades away. She laments she'll never get to wear it for real until she spots the camera, snatches it, and starts snapping dozens of shots from every angle. She flashes a tiny grin, promising to lock the footage away. Then she lets out a soft noise, and he thinks she's awake. 2 beats later, she's back under a false alarm as night drapes over. The next morning, Muin confronts Noah, saying her magic bucket shattered and she went looking for Dad to fix it, but he's vanished. Noah starts wondering if Leon Yu's mother is knocked out to make a run for it. She calls her sister, demanding they find him now. In the next scene, they storm Rose Wise's room, empty. The adjoining chamber, empty too. They scour the whole house, no trace. Muin still assumes he's hiding somewhere, while Noah mutters he should have left like last time. After a beat, Noah tells his sister that some folks are decent, but they still have to go. He says he's already gone, picturing himself fleeing the castle. To her, he's gone for good, and we see she always thought her family was weird, seemed harmonious, but it was all a facade. She recalls that man sleeping in the room, Mom calling him her father, but the first thing he did upon waking was bolt. Mom never explained, dragged him back, yet nobody realized he stayed away by choice. Over time, he tried to play Dad, but she never knew if it was for them or just a ploy to lower their guard and slip away. That love, tainted by hidden motives, was impure. He never belonged. She knew he'd leave someday. Mun panics, asking what will happen. Mom won't wait. Dad doesn't love them. Noah tells her to chill. She'll handle it. They'll hold a farewell ceremony for that man. Meanwhile, the protagonist watches from the sacred dragon sanctuary's peaks. He says the maid didn't lie. He asks Anna which spots Ross Weiss frequented and found this was one of them. Now he can scout the area while she's asleep, because when she wakes, he'll catch her off guard. It's all part of his plan of revenge. He'll strike while she's weak, humiliating her in her favorite place, just like she did to him at her house. He can already picture herself saying, "This spot is perfect." The ground's hard, but he'll carpet it with flower petals. He's mapping out a series of perfect locations. I'm telling you, he's playing 4-dimensional chess. Later that night, back at the castle, everyone gathers around a fire. He steps forward, trying to get the scoop, when a maid announces the princesses have ordered a funeral. The daughters stand before a portrait, offering steaks, while Noah tells his sister to accept it. He's completely baffled. What the hell is this? A new game? Should I join? He asks who the honoree is. Do they want me to switch instrument? Then he sees the portrait as him. He says he looks fine in the painting, but can't understand why they're treating him like he's dead. Muin turns around and says, "Dad's here." He replies clumsily that holding a funeral for someone who vanished one day is just too much. Muin sprints over, hugging him and sobbing, saying she thought he didn't love her anymore. Leon, confused, says she's spouting nonsense. Why wouldn't he love both of them? Noah explains they searched everywhere for him and he never showed up, so they figured he'd vanished. He laughed and says he just stepped out to take a walk. Noah starts to suspect he was falsely accused. The protagonist turns to the maid and says, "All right, is this over? This?" Everyone can head home, but the girl wants the offerings, so she snatches the steak that fell on the floor. Joa tells him to give a heads up next time he goes out alone. Mywin was worried. The kid already looks like his son, apologizes, and realizes that this girl was also on edge. Worried, but she's too ashamed to admit it. Noah admits it was his fault for not trusting him and apologizes. The protagonist then steps back. He realizes that in the end, it was truly Noah's fault. If he hadn't spoken up, no one would have known, but the kid is kind, thinking it's ultimately his responsibility for not making her feel safe. All he wanted was affection and love, but even if he promised something, she wouldn't buy it, so he can only prove it with actions. He gently strokes her and says they'll have dinner together because she has class tomorrow. The next morning, in the queen's chambers, Rose begins to stir, and Miwoo is so overjoyed she cries, saying she was terrified. Rose brushes Miwoo's cheek and apologizes for making them worry, then realizes she's drained. Her magical flow is at 0. Normally, her body would shrug off a blood curse. Maybe she spent it saving the man, that cursed mark she bore promising she wouldn't die, and she's already plotting, knowing his personality. Probably he slipped away ages ago. He asks Muin how many days he slept, and Muin says too. Ross scoffs, saying no one could have gone that far in 2 days. Send a search party and they'll bring him back. But then the protagonist shows up. He claims he caught a fish on the mountain. The girl gasps, it's amazing, and he confirms it was real, only then noticing Ross is awake. She asks him what the hell he's doing there. He brushes it off, saying he has no idea what she's talking about, that he went out to catch a fish so his dear wife could heal. She snaps, it's not dear. Meanwhile, the girl mutters that cooking a fish that size will be a nightmare, but she can handle it. She snatches the massive catch and heads to the kitchen. In just a year, she's already running the whole show, keeping the house, solving problems, cooking. Ross says he thought he'd use her unconsciousness to ditch the girls and run, but he claims they've got plenty of unfinished business, so he won't leave. She can't quite grasp what unfinished business he means. He repeats he won't go. She still doesn't get the unfinished business. Then he asks if she remembers what he did after she woke from a month-long blackout. She snaps back, recalling it instantly, and asks if that's what he means. He nods, confirming exactly what she's thinking. She pulls back, calling herself weak and begging him not to exploit it, but he scoffs at that supposed weakness. When he was at his weakest, the Amazon showed zero mercy, branding him with dragon wax and slamming him to the ground with no chance to flee. She warns him that if she regains her strength, he'll pay and won't have time to beg for forgiveness, but the idiot shoves forward, spouting nonsense about knowing what's best. He claims it's the best decision of his life. Now it's her turn to be a war prisoner. She's just woken after 3 days, still chained, and he won't even let her plant her feet. She punches him. You bastard, let me go. And he snarls, stop hitting me or you'll fall. The queen erupts, if I had your strength, I'd have smashed you to death. Lying by the tree, she asks why he dragged her here. He says he was scouting her favorite spots while she slept. This was the first stop of the night. She snapped, if this is the first, expect a lot more. Leon glances at the castle and says he gets why she loves it. Everything's visible from up there, perfectly. She instantly gets that he's trying to humiliate her for what she did on his turf. He says, yes. Returning the favor isn't a dragon-only privilege, and he unleashes the brand without holding back, leaving her writhing in pain. He claims he's human, but vengeful as hell. Is the hero going too far, or is this justified retribution? Jack triggers the effect, slams her to the ground, and snarls, that's exactly what you did to me. The queen vows to fight back, but the brand makes that impossible. He whips his tail around her, coiling it tight, and tells her to savor her humiliation because she'll pay later with a vengeance 10 times worse. Yet he retorts that talking about the future is pointless. They live in the now. The tree shudders, petals drift down, and by the time they stumble back into the room, daylight's already breaking. He's utterly spent. They moved from the tree to another spot, then another, and he feels drained, yet he's proud he satisfied her. She's sleeping soundly. Still, a part of him wonders if this is wrong. He wanted revenge, so why does she wear that smug grin? He decides to retreat to his own quarters because they're not the type to stay tangled till sunrise. When he gets up, Rosa snatches his clothes, whining she's cold. He scoffs. It's animal instinct to seek warmth while sleeping won't be fooled, but he won't ditch her either, so he stays. Morning comes. Mewen hunts for his mother, asking where she is. They try to rouse both women, and the other girl tells the hero the sun's already beating down on her face. He mutters it's hot and he wants more sleep. Muang snaps, furious that the two are cuddled up while nobody's playing with her. What he really wants to know is why both of them have those little spots. Translation failed fallback. Sabi que son picadoras de insecto. Ella vamos a un cajón. Agera crema de dragón. Sub a la cama y empieza a fredársela a los two, one rato después. Ross C. despierta. Translation failed fallback. Preguntando por que su cara está tan magida. Translation failed fallback. Ambas tienen un montón de cosas verdes en la cara y el protagonista así acute de ella. Muven aparece y dice que vio esas marcas rojas y le puso medicina. El protagonista se ríe y le gratis diciendo que sí, son picadoras de mosquitos. Translation failed fallback. La elogia. Translation failed fallback. Acarando la cabeza diciendo que hizo un gran trabajo. Translation failed fallback. Luego, el protagonista dice que fue a la cocina. Aguero y Ross y le dice que abra la boca. Ella no entiende, pero acut él si lo lanza a la boca y le dice que aprenda la lección. Ha pasado demasiado tiempo sin comer, aunque si un dragón que puede hibernar se estaba debilitando. Ella mastica y dice que sabe perfectamente. Translation failed fallback. Como alimentarse, aunque el sabor no está mal. Él la molesta diciendo que le encanta el sabor de su esposo. Un poco después, se levanta y el plato está vacío. Le dice que no, que la tío a banner a oser comida y incluso a comer. Mira que anto la quita, Ross dice que dice to do eso después de torturarla, pero León dice que no puede hablar así de un esposo carnazo y se va riendo. Translation failed fallback. Ella está furiosa, diciendo que sabe cómo atormentarla, pero la venganza se acerca. Luego golpea la pared, sale una explosión de energía y se da cuenta de que su fuerza está regresando. Translation failed fallback. Mientras tanto, el pobre tipo que está a punto de convertirse en la víctima de esta cruel mujer está lavando platos. Translation failed fallback. Pensando que solo quiere que ella no se recupere tan rápido porque es divertido. Later that night, the maid comes to give dear Ross his medicine. Ross says his body's healed and he doesn't need it anymore. The maid spots the busted wall and Ross tells her to chill. He used a little too much force, but he'll call someone to fix it tomorrow. Anna's about to leave, but the queen summons her, ordering her not to tell Leon that he's recovered. She wants the girl to tend to him a few more days. She loves being pampered. Anna laughs as the queen says she's trying to bottle up rage and take revenge on everything. 2 days later, Moon says she wants to learn that thing that makes the body glow, asking if it's magic. She nods, confirming it's the same power he and his mother wielded that day in training. Confused, he can't see why she wants to study magic. Win says his sister's excelling at school, and he doesn't want to fall behind. The protagonist assures he's fine, and says he'll try to help her. He figures it's normal. If you've got 2 daughters, they'll compete. And since Mew fancies Noah, he won't lag. He wants to be on equal footing. Slaps his chest in vows to back her up. But shortly after, the kid is there straining as if trying to pull something out, and nothing happens. Still, the protagonist is impressed, noting she's already learning to channel mana. Maybe she's a prodigy. Then Mew says that's enough. She's hungry and out of energy. He tells her it's fine, no rush. She summons him, saying they should leave. Meanwhile, Anna hands Ross something, saying she found what he asked for. Ross tells her to drop it anywhere in a corner. Then Leon shows up calling his wife. Ross tells Anna to scram, and the protagonist recalls Anna saying she'd need 5 days to heal, which means he's got time to toy with her. He steps in, arms outstretched, telling Ross that if she's in pain, he can give her a massage, but she taunts him, demanding to see the true strength of the dragon hunter. Is he so weak now he can't even do it? He lets out a twisted chuckle, yanks the sheet in, says he was going to give her a night's rest because she looked tired, but she doesn't deserve it. If she talks that tough, her body must be fine, and now she'll regret it, but she fell straight into the villain's trap. She smiles, saying she never regrets anything. Her tail coils around his torso and slams him into the wall. It's over. The torture device is live. He asks if she's healed. She replies that a prize dragon hunter will be kept silent. She strips the cloth off the board Anna brought, exposing the cruel implement. He asks when she set this up, but it's too late. He's bound tight. Ross warns him not to try resisting. The poor fool thinks she's torturing him for info. Then we flash back to the day she braided his hair. She woke up, he showed it in the mirror, thought it wasn't that bad, and left it that way. Back to the torture scene. The protagonist swears he'll never give up. She plays back his pleading recording, hearing him beg to kiss her. He orders her to hand it over and erase it. She asks who this guy is that's begging. He blushes, says it's not him, just a lookalike. She pulls his blindfold down, and he's seen begging over and over. He tells her enough, now remember everything. She grabs the torture tool, vows to repeat this countless times, and her vile torment is about to begin. She delivers the first strike, a low, brutal blow. After a while, the guy is spent, battered all over. It's hard not to feel pity. If he ever wants to change lives with me, I'll let him. Meanwhile, the queen reads a letter. He notices it's from the Dragon Academy, asking if anything happened. She says they were summoned there tomorrow. Looks like Noah fought someone, taking his father's counsel. In Vice Director Walter's office, Noah stands while 3 idiots lie bruised. It's actually Walter. I don't know why they called him Wilson before. He's there to discuss Noah's clash with his peers. Ross scowls, asking if those 3 dragons teamed up to harass his daughter. The heroine stays close to Noah, checking if she's hurt in what went down. Walter says it's obvious, just look at those boys' faces. His daughter beat the 3 to a pulp. Ross beams, and the heroine celebrates, saying she did a hell of a job. Walter explains this shows the tension between cocoon-born dragons and womb-born ones. In dragon form, they can spawn offspring and lay eggs, and females can carry a dragon in their belly. Theoretically, cocoon-born are stronger when young, but this girl, Noah, though womb-born, took on 3 cocoon-born dragons. She had a promising future. Theoretically. Cocoon-born dragons are tougher when they're young, but this girl, Noah, even though she was womb-born, she took on 3 cocoon dragons and lived to tell the tale. She truly had a bright, unstoppable future. Then the door bursts open and a human storms in. in, demanding to know who beat his son. He sees his kid mangled, asks how it happened, and the boy, dazed, sprints away screaming to Dad. Dad, they hit me. Ross warns the heroine that this kid comes from the Crimson Dragon clan. Arrogant bastards. Impossible to handle. She snaps back, I've slain countless Crimson Dragons. The man sneers. Ah, so the Silver Queen graces us. He mocks her. For someone who claims to be all-powerful, you can't even raise your own daughter right. The heroine stands her ground. He goes on, bragging that the Silver Dragons are waning, and now that they can't face us head-on, they're picking on kids. He scans the heroine from head to toe. Warning, if you don't apologize right now, nobody's getting out that door. She snaps, if you're so eager, clearly looking for a fight, but Walter slams the table and orders everyone to chill, saying they need to hear the whole story. Walter explains that they were all in the cafeteria when Noah and the kid collided, spilling food all over his clothes. Back in the dorms, they cornered her demanding compensation, only to get beaten themselves. Walter asks if anyone has anything to say. The boys stay silent, but Noah demands a word. The director asks what went down, and she says Laurel, the red-haired kid, shoved her into purpose. She only defended herself, and that's how the food ended up on him. He asks if she's lying, and the tear-soaked boy admits she isn't. She tells the truth. The father can't grasp why his son is so terrified of this girl. Then Leon points out she made a mistake. When you fight a Crimson Dragon, you strike the knees first. She asks why, and he says it's a weak spot. After that, it's easy to finish them off. The father tells the director to handle this. How can they let someone intimidate his son? A student with that violent behavior can't be placated with an apology. He should be expelled. Walter tells him to calm down. Only Rise Academy can decide on expulsion. Moreover, most students have already complained about Laurel, saying he harasses many womb-born kids, and everyone in the cafeteria said he started it. He can't be soothed with an apology. He should be kicked out. Walter orders him to chill. Only Rise Academy can rule on expulsion. Besides, the majority of students have already lodged complaints about Laurel, claiming he bothers a lot of womb-born kids, and the whole cafeteria swears he was the instigator. They all said he was the one who started it. How could his son have provoked anything when he was the one who got beaten? He launches insults at Leon, and Leon retorts that it's shameful the man's son got whacked. His own kid is only a year and 2 months old. Another nearby kid says Laurel is 7 years and 11 months, and the protagonist laughs, saying the father should be begging that they never find out. Then the father says the protagonist, who doesn't even have the guts to show his own story, shouldn't say a word about his son, and goes further, calling the whole protagonist's family trash. The protagonist goes cold, snaps the man's finger off, warning he can take the insult, but if he brings up his wife or family, things will get ugly. Rosewise loves that, saying he enjoys watching him protect his own. Meanwhile, the father claims the protagonist has no idea who he's talking to. He's the head of the Crimson Clan, Constantine. The protagonist doesn't care, says he's not scared, and Ross tells him to calm down. It's just a student fight. There's no reason to drag family status into it. Trust that St. Rice Academy will make the right call and accept the outcome. Walter nods, noting at least one person in the room is trying to keep the peace. He then turns to Constantine, telling him to stop making a circus of the school. At this rate, his son could lose his right to study there. Even Laurel, the kid who got beaten, says, Dad, stop, I want to study here. Constantine cools down, admits he'd lost his temper, but says he'll accept whatever the school decides. Still, it's clear he thinks this won't end here. Walter announces the verdict. In this incident, Laurel provoked her and Noah defended himself. But he crossed the line, so he'll get a verbal warning from a teacher and needs to think more carefully about his actions. He also has to write a self-reflection report and clean the classroom for a week. That's the penalty. Afterward, she says goodbye and heads back to class. The protagonist yells that if anyone bothers her again, he'll kick them in the knee. Then Walter appears behind him and the protagonist spins around asking what's up. The director says they've only seen a few times, but never seen the lion's tail. The protagonist wonders if the man has figured out who he really is. The director asks exactly which clan he's from. Ross grabs the protagonist and says no, he doesn't belong to any noble clan, just an ordinary dragon. Walter laughs, noting that given his limited talent, it's weird he has a daughter with so much power. Anyway, the academy's happy to have talented students like his daughter. He's sure that when she graduates, she'll lead dragons to hunt even more dragon hunters. The protagonist thanks him, while Constantine watches from afar, plotting revenge. As soon as the protagonist and Ross leave, Constantine waits outside. Ross asks if he has anything to say. The academy's already decided, so there's nothing more to discuss. Constantine tells him to relax. He only said he'd accepted to avoid causing trouble for the academy, but now that they're outside, they'll settle at the Dragon Way, right here, right now. He challenges his husband to a duel. Ross knows that if they refuse, people will say the Silver Dragons are scared. Constantine. He asks what they're gonna do. What are you gonna do? Ross asks the protagonist if he's got the guts to take it. He clenches his fist and says if the man steps up like that, he'll finish him. Ross trusts his husband, but he begs him not to kill Constantine. Meanwhile, a bunch of kids in the hallway start gossiping about a duel at the entrance. I've got to see it. Parents are throwing down. Hearing that, Noah starts guessing who the parents are. Outside, the protagonist stretches, Ross standing opposite him. Everyone's dying to know who they are. Constantine thinks the protagonist looks weak. He doesn't even dare to show his tail. Since his son got beat today, he just needs to crush this man to restore the family's honor. Constantine snarls that Crimson Dragons don't bow to anyone. If the protagonist can survive 3 rounds, he'll count it as a loss. The protagonist tells him to shut up so they can get the show on the road. Constantine loses his cool and throws a punch, but the protagonist sees the first swing and realizes Constantine is far weaker than most Crimson War dragon. Constantine, furious, snarls for him to shut up again and slams his fist into the ground. Everything erupts, but the protagonist leaps to dodge. Then Constantine unleashes an electric blast. It looks like it'll hit, but the hero fires a power that grounds it, tells Constantine it's his turn, snaps a brutal knee kick that drops him, smashes his face into a wall, shakes his hand, and declares that at Constantine's level, he doesn't even need magic. The other parents stare, stunned. The hero asks if anyone wants in. They all back off, dragging Constantine away. He spots Noah standing there, asks when she showed up, and she says she heard the ruckus and came with the gift. Ross asks what it is. Noah says it's a heart-shaped candy they baked in cooking class, hoping it'll taste good. Ross grabs it, jokes it'll be delicious, then hands it to the hero. He bites in, declares it amazing. Noah adds that her dad was awesome in the fight. He's thrilled she finally praised him outright. He feels it's a new step in their bond and boasts he knocked that guy down. Her dad's a legend. If anyone wants combat tips, just ask him. Ross notices his hand is all red. At home, he's reading when the doctor shows up. He asks why she's there. She sits beside him, surprised. She brought medicine, and he wonders what torture awaits, but she tells him to give her his hand. He looks, says it's nothing. She assures he'll heal in days, shushes him, takes his hand, applies menthol ointment. He thinks it's overkill. He's been a dragon hunter forever, scarred to the bone, but it's the first time anyone's tended a wound with such gentle, warm hands, cool fingers that trace his skin. He wonders, what the hell is this? A spell in her hand. He's never felt anything like it, feels uneasy, and she thanks him for everything today. He looks at her as if to say, thanks for what? She says Constantine was way too aggressive, but he always stepped in to protect them. He starts to say he only did it to keep up his image, since everyone sees him as the husband, but cuts himself off and admits he did it for Noah. She laughs, says she knows he's faking the tough guy act. Mid-conversation, she mentions her sister and invited them over. Suddenly, they're on a dragon, the whole clan descending, and Isabel appears, hugging Ross, raving about his dragon form being insane and his sister being awesome. Ross shifts back, and Isabel clings to him. Ross asks, where exactly are you putting those hands, sis? Embarrassed, he tells Isabel to calm down because he needs to meet his husband. She introduces him. Leon Casmodi. Isabel says, it's a pleasure to see you up and at it. Ross introduces his daughters, and Isabel gushes they're absolutely adorable. She scoops the eldest into a hug, insisting she must be Moon, just like she heard. Then she calls over the younger, wraps her up too, calling her pure joy and downright adorable. Isabel mentions Xiao Lu told her you're a great dad to the girls, and she pats you on the back. You chuckle. It's a breeze. They're happy with me. Ross snaps. Hell no, they're tighter with you. You fire back. Spit the truth. That's nonsense. The room erupts. She teases. Looks like the lovebirds are clicking, both turning red. Then she orders everyone inside. After dinner, the whole crew gathers in the lounge. Isabel announces she'll pull out some baby pictures of Ross. Ross snaps, cut it, give me those, and lunges to snatch them. Isabel ducks. Their eyes lock. Then she hurls the album. He's about to crack it open. Ross shouts, don't you dare. Yet the prize is already in sight. He mutters, never thought you had this side. She flips to a school day snap, noting she was a live wire back then. He grills her on how she morphed into the ice queen she is today. Ross snarls, watch your step, I'll be her target, and he won't make it out alive. The girls flip through pictures of Isabel as a child, already in dragon form, taking down dragons as a youngster. Mewen praises a portrait, saying she looks regal on a throne with the crown. Isabel explains it was the day she claimed the throne. The hero declares it's truly amazing. Moments later, Ross snatches the book, shouting enough, it's over. But the bold one pulls out a crystal ball, insisting the game isn't finished. The hero raises his hand, demanding to see the recording stone. The girls gasp while Ross begs him to stop, not to reveal what's inside. Defiantly, the hero insists, demanding the truth. Isabel thinks it over, noting it's the lion's first time they'll listen this round. Next time, they'll hear Ross. The only thing thing he can think is that next time won't come. Then the scene cuts to trees in an open field. Ross jumps back, shouting, "Don't look." In the clip, she's a kid and her sister asks how she'll pick a husband. Ross snaps that he never settled for just anyone, only someone with higher grades than her and a shelf full of awards. The two girls snicker. That's exactly what Ross says about Leon. The other nod, yeah, he'd have to be powerful, but not a tyrant, not a puppet. The protagonist laugh, crushed by the joke. Obviously, is me. Isabel cackles as Video Ross admits, finding someone like that will be a nightmare. And if I can't, I won't marry. The protagonist is stunned at how well it fits, while Ross tells him to stop blushing. It was just a dumb thing he blurted out back then, meaningless. Then Isabel suddenly asks who followed whom first. They both point at the other. Nobody wants to own up, and Ross taunts, "Say it again if you've got the gut." So she explained. She seemed interested, locked him up, then changed her mind, cast a spell, and he was the one who went looking for her. Isabel keeps bragging that they're a hell of a pair. Night falls. The kid and Ross storm into a room that looks more like a seedy motel. Bathtub, Ross's junk everywhere. Ross immediately fires at his sister. What the hell happened to this room? Isabel says it's a guest suite she set up for the couple. They'll be staying a few days. Ross refuses, demanding they move them elsewhere. But Isabel scoffs, "Don't be shy, you're married." The kid realizes he's let his guard down. This dragon sister isn't a pushover. She tries to lock him and his sister in a chamber to revive the race on a breeding mission. He wants out, now in a chamber to revive the race on a breeding mission. He wants out now, but Isabel plants a hand on his shoulder and snarls, "Where the hell do you think you're headed?" He mutters that the girls have to miss him. He needs to check on them. Isabel snaps that no, she's got other plans for the kids, and they're already in the 4th round of games. As she walks out, she tells them to get some rest. The moment she's gone, the two finally get a breath of air. Ross growls that they've got no options. They'll have to crash there. John notes that his sister's playing it smart. She throws open the closet and is packed with roughly 300,000 costumes. Ross slams it shut. Horrified by what he might find, he points out the room only has a bed and a bathtub, so he'll bunk in the tub. He protests he can't crash there. The drain's blocked, the water won't drain, and he'll drown. He spots a soft waterbed, starts bragging how fun it looked, bouncing on it while Ross gets the point. She snaps, "There's no getting out of this. You're sleeping next to me." He concedes, "Fine, I'll take it. Just don't plot anything." She snarls, "Shut your mouth, or if you keep pestering me, they'll use everything in that room." She tells him to shut his mouth because she's about to take a bath and to stay back. Before he can peek, she shoves him out. He stalks the hallway, spots Isabel on the balcony, and she asks where he is. Ross claims he went to bathe and stepped out for some air. Isabel says it's fine, she can have a drink with him. He grabs a glass while she reminisces that she and Ross used to drink there for hours, but ever since Ross turned into the Dragon Queen and left, all they do is swap letters. Isabel noticed Ross always looked sad when she saw her married, assuming she was ill, and they couldn't spend much time together. The kid thinks about how Ross had to raise the enemy's twins and could only talk to his sister by mail. Then Isabel slams him, saying she thought Ross married a loser. He feels uneasy and says he wouldn't be that kind of dragon. Isabel retorts that after getting to know him a bit, maybe not, but the point as she confirmed Ross likes him, he's confused. "What do you mean?" He shakes his head, insisting, "No way. That monstrous dragon queen would never like him." He thinks Isabel knows nothing about his sister. Still, he has to fake that they get along. So, awkwardly, he says, yes, he really likes her. Isabel pats his shoulder and says she knew it because it's the first time she's seen Ross speak naturally with anyone but her, so he'd better be responsible and protect her. He's still embarrassed, but he thumps his chest in vows to guard his wife and daughters with his life. Isabel snarls that he'd better mean it, then shoves him, telling him to go back to the room and enjoy the damn soundproofing. He thanks her anyway and heads back. But when he steps in, Ross has already gone to sleep. He approaches, she doesn't get up, and he feels relieved. At least he won't suffer tonight, but he's confused. He glances at the mountain's curves and the mark starts to glow. Oh, never mind then, he sees her clutching a plush bear. She says hello and he jumps. She explains she grabbed it to play. He thought the trap had sprung when the mark lit up. He shakes his head, says no, and goes back to sleep, begging her not to talk to him. But the giant voice warns him not to attack her in the middle of the night. Then she elbows the bed and a spider drops beside her. She screams and clings to him. He asks what happened, and she says there's a spider. He remembers that in some book photos, she was terrified of spiders, laughs, and says he'll fix it right now. Even if it's a fake, if it were real, she'd be holding it in her hand and throwing it. So he lifts it, realizes it's a toy, shows it to her, and tells her not to be scared. But she orders him to stop, activates her magic, commands him to fling it far, and he hurls it out the window. Then he says, there, drama closed, she can go back to sleep. He starts to think maybe this is still his sister's plan, just to weaken Ross. Then the Radiant Queen asks to sleep beside him, and he says, fine. They lie down, and out of nowhere he says, scared. Take my hand. She claims she isn't scared, but intertwines her pinky with his, clasping hands as if to sleep. Yet she's embarrassed, shaking her head side to side, muttering that it makes no sense. She's a dragon queen. Why is she diving into this mess? The main kid asks why his hand, always ice cold, is now slick with sweat, and she slips into a poetic trance, saying the calluses and scars from years of wielding a sword have hardened, and their fingers are tangled like an electric current. She keeps going while he's spiraling inside. After a while, he looks at her. She seems asleep. His fingers are tingling, and he wants to move, but then she subtly shifts her hand, presses it against his thigh, telling him to stop touching her. She eyes him like a damned prisoner defying his master. She moves her hand again. He winces, feeling her grip tighten. They are glued to each other. Then, movement here, movement there. He spins, she spins. Things are about to explode. It's like Yami Yuji already placed his first card in attack mode, but the opponent shows no fear. She also puts her card in attack mode. The kid dives into this competitive game, shouting that for the first time the mark isn't reacting. The legend says the mark only reacts when they don't try, but in this case, it was no longer needed. Then another spider drops, and she screams. From afar, Isabel taunts, "We'll have fun with those little surprises." So the guy wraps his arms around Ross, bragging he swept the room clean of every spider. She clings to him, heart pounding. He retorts, it's not about her. He's scared of spiders too. That's it. They hug, crash out, nothing else happens. So yeah, they still need to trigger that mark. The next morning, she wakes terrified, looks around, and Leon's gone. Why the hell did she get up so early? But maybe that's for the best. He has no clue how to handle her now. It's the first time he's broken his own code, showing weakness to a human and even sleeping in her arms. Humiliating as hell. He'll never tell anyone. Yet the moment he steps out of the room and looks sideways, Isabel's already there, grinning, demanding to know how wild the night was. Ross brushes it off. Nothing happened. Isabel laughed. If that's the case, I'll have to ship everything I prepared to your place. Ross grabs her, shoves her to shut up, and says it's breakfast time. In the lounge, the main kid is pulling a goofy face at Moon. Everyone's buzzing with happiness. They eat, and the two just stand there while he feels a sting of embarrassment. Last night he got tangled up without the mark firing. Big problem. The angel's voice whispers that hugging the enemy is treason. The demon retorts that for someone who's done worse, it's nothing. They clash, and he notices the bread's bland, but when he reaches for the peanut butter, their hands brush. Both spin, snarling, your move. Meanwhile, the sister demands why they're acting so perfect. Ross claims it's the scorching heat, the sun's beating down. Isabel feels it and tells them to head back to the same room for a soap. She finds it hilarious to mess with them, always such reactions. Then she drops that she heard they had a fallout with the Crimson Dragons. Ross lays it out while the main kid jokes the other was a pushover. One hit in, he hit the deck. Isabel praises Noah, then calls that bastard trash for whining to the director and demanding they be expelled. The main kid recalls Constantine of the Crimson Dragons being hailed as a hero. Isabel adds she's been pushing to expand her turf and could use this clash as an excuse to strike them, so they better stay on guard. Ross snarls that if that bastard tries to swing at the Silver Dragons over some dumb reason, he'll teach him a lesson. A bit later, it's time to roll out. Isabel wishes them safe travels, promises a little gift for them to enjoy at home, and tells them to look after the other kids. She plants a kiss on Noah's cheek, then walks over to the main kid and grabs his hand, telling him he'd better not forget a single thing he swore to do. Ross doesn't get it, but she spreads her wings, transforms, and they take off. Isabel comes back inside, calling them adorable, but when she opens the door, a spider drops beside her. Leon set a trap, so he's really bold. Meanwhile, the lead kid hangs with the youngsters, realizing these two he met are nothing like the dragon rumor. They're crushing assumptions with a no-holds-barred heart-to-heart clash. He says he felt the strength of a peaceful, love-filled family. He's lost in thought when Ross demands he spill what he promised his sister. He refuses. No way. Night falls. Back home, we tuck the kids in, shut the door, and our guy starts rattling off about the video he showed yesterday. A clip of her as a kid, bathing, saying she loved being. Yeah. Damn it. She loved being Bubbles, and now she's fuming, telling him to shut his mouth and forget it. He's on the brink of hitting her, and she snaps that he looks damn bored. Then she lunges at the wall, shouting his name, saying they have to finish what went down the other day. The protagonist realizes she's pissed and tries to bolt, but she flings open his room door and gives him 10 minutes to get to his fourth period. He's going to pay for forcing his sister to air those shameful videos. Leon realizes he's in deep shit. He's tangled himself up. Still, he's smiling because it proves his dark past is his biggest weak spot. He'll pay the price, but that's what a dragon hunter does. Let her suffer too. It's fine. Meanwhile, the queen is soaking in a bath, grinning. Night settles over the castle, and 10 minutes later, later, the protagonist is there, begging Ross to go easy on him, but she's dressed like a teacher and orders him to call her ma'am today. He's about to brag that he loves playing actress, but she shushes him and cracks a whip across his back, telling him he still can't obey and doesn't get the situation. The kid's getting used to it, saying the whip doesn't sting much and feels weird. He starts to think she's just trying to humiliate him with this game, and maybe the fastest way out is to cooperate since that leaves little reason to punish him. Then she asks if he knows where he went wrong. He, the protagonist, uneasy, nods, won't refuse to cooperate any longer. She orders him to start his assignment, then launches into a brutal chemistry physics crash course. She leans in, pointing at his notebook, watch every damn detail. The whole point was to fire up the brand. He swallows, grabs his pencil, and actually finishes the damn worksheet. He's tearing up, pumped that he crushed it, but she brushes it off. That was just a warm up. He's crushed, just getting started. He should have known they never cut him slack. Then the brand flips on and the kid's done for. Activation means 10 straight hours of grind. After slogging through countless equations, bases, and hypotheses, he finally gets a breath. He says, "Ma'am, I'm done. I'm out," but she snatches his arm and tells him he's only cleared one subject. There are still 6. He tells her to quit, that she's work addicted, but it's already too late. After a night-long marathon of lessons, he's stumbling. He's trembling as she glows. The girls sneer, calling out his massive bags under his eyes. He nods, swearing he crammed all night. Munit asks if grown-ups get homework. Mom says they do. Dad's buried in a mountain of problems. Then Munit drops, "I found something weird." When Ross is buzzing, Dad's dead tired. When Ross crashes, Dad's on fire. Lyon hails her, "Your eyes are razor sharp." He vows, "Anyone who mess with you, I'll crush." Noah watches. Then the Leviathan dragon storms in. She bids them farewell to the family. He flashes a thumbs up, "Study hard, see you next weekend." He swivels to Moon. "What's on the agenda today?" She assumes Leon's forever exhausted. She wants to train him and give him a break. Ross just watches, trying to suss out their plan. The scene flips to them training together, and the heroine declares that boosting flexibility slashes injury risk. It cuts the chance of getting hurt. When Rosa shows up saying she wants in too, Moon is thrilled that her mom's gonna run with them. The heroine warns her to be careful, that staying cooped up in the office all day could twist her ankle. She reminds her who took the last contest. Her Munin demands a rematch. He snarls, "Zip it, that's a dumb move. You're only sparking a brawl." Munin shoots back, saying he looks like he's scared to race because he knows he'll get crushed. He assumes the jab's aimed at him, but admits it's not that he can't win. He just lets Mom take the trophy, so she doesn't get humiliated. Then Ross flicks his tail to mark a line, bragging he's as stubborn as they come, and they'll race to see who lasts longer. The trio lines up, and Munin blasts off like a rocket. The heroine shoots Ross a side glance. "Does that tail even let you run?" She points out the tail's a damn perfect balance tool, way better than hers. Minutes later, Moon's done 2 laps and is flat out exhausted. Anna rushes to tend him as the two keep racing. The heroine knows silver dragons are lightning fast, so she's outgunned, but having seized the ledge, she won't back down. His wife closes in, yelling, and 20 minutes later, he's a heap on the ground. She asks if he'll take the loss. He snarls no, so she orders him up, "Run now." He whines he needs 2 days off to beat her. She retorts he won't snap out of it in 2 years, then slaps the dragon tail victory in his face, telling him he's beaten and must obey. First, he dashes to the bath, feeling reborn. Meanwhile, he's raging, claiming he was exhausted. Rose rings Min, who says she'll train with Mom, cause Dad's a total weak sauce. The poor guy's a wreck. In the next scene, food appears, and Min offers him a bite to bounce back, but he spent N crashes onto the table. Ra scoffs that his body's ancient N rusted. He retorts that the homework from Ra called his body ancient N rusted, blaming last night's grind for this mess. She suggests another assignment tonight. He freaks out, not today. He's got plenty to teach Moon, plans to spin her a bedtime tale. He'll watch his daughter, and Ross jumps up, saying it's cool. Good there getting some rest. He kicks back, but when the cut flips, she eyes the side and orders someone out. It's Shirley, the maid, snooping. Ross asks for any intel. Shirley reports she uncovered the hidden estate where Teji Lawrence and his wife hid before moving. They've shed their identities, vanished from the empire. When they left, they gave everything to an orphanage, even the critters to the neighbors. Except a donkey. Looks like the couple owned a beloved donkey that got snatched away. And Ross instantly thinks it's the same beast Leon kept bragging about swapping his horseshoe. She tells Shirley to keep digging and report back when she finds more. Then Rose demands to know why Leon's master bailed on the empire. And a few days later, Noah shows up announcing a family sports day the Academy's staging next week. Ross scoffs that back in his day, they had the same thing, but parents didn't have to get involved. Noah says it's a brand new program. Then Muin asks his mom what place she landed in. Ross smugly says first, of course. Muin turns to Leon and asks asks his rank, and Leon replies, none. Muen can't wrap his head around it, and Leon explains that back then, his scores were so outlandish the Academy accused him of cheating and disqualified him. So Muen starts treating him like a crook and slaps him hard. He begs him to believe him, bragging he'd racked up so many trophies that he even forged a gold bracelet for his grandfather. Ross finds it odd. Why melt down a priceless medal? Leon says since they accused him of cheating, it held no honor or pride. So he tossed it, and Ross asks if Noah's joining today's event. So he ditched it. Ross asks if Noah's going to join the day of sports. Noah says it's just for fun and won't affect grades, but there's still competition and he wants first place. The protagonist realizes his daughter inherited the same cutthroat competitiveness he and Ross have. He puts a hand on her shoulder and says it's fine, everyone will compete. Muen also wants to go, but unfortunately only 3 can go, and Dad grimaces, saying she'll handle the hype. In the next chapter, the protagonist is already training in the field with his wife, watching her thinking everything she's wearing looks sharp. The two start sprinting and drilling. She tells him to gear up because dragon contests aren't a walk in the park. He claims he has no clue how brutal becoming a dragon hunter is. She darts off, bragging it's easy to leave it behind. He whines that it's always her fault. She wrecked him the night before. She retorts that if they snag first place, she'll grant him a week off. He shouts he's fired up and bolts, and she thinks using that as fuel always works. After a while, he asks if she feels her muscles and joints firing. She replies, of course, after the boost I gave you, I'm feeling very pumped. She whips out a rope and warns that in some of these competitions, they'll have to learn to coordinate as a pair. He thinks she's trying to tie him up somehow, but she tells him to chill. It's a 3-leg race. Bind one person's leg to the others, and they'll have to learn to run. He tells them to head to the grass, so they don't the Mars, but they nearly crash like idiots. Side by side, she tells him not to ruin her rhythm. 3, 2, 1, go, and she bolts at full speed, dragging him along. After a while, she tells him to slow down. Doesn't he know what cooperating means? She says it's hard to cooperate with someone who can't keep up. Leon orders her to stop provoking and focus. When I say 1, move the free leg. When I say 2, move the tied leg. She says she didn't get it in. He places a hand on her waist. She tells him to let go. He tells her to calm down. It's to help them sync up. Then they start the Queen's special training, marching, then push-ups, and he ends up completely exhausted. In the next chapter, time passes and the day of the big competition arrives. The director announces that the Grand Family Competition, the #1 at this university, is about to kick off. A blue-haired kid steps up as Yahello, announcing she'll call out every move. The first event is a relay. Each family fields 3 runners, including the one who signed up the student. It's a 3,000-meter dash, a kilometer per leg. The family that crosses the line fastest takes the win. The announcer orders everyone into position. They line up at the mark, and the daughter declares she'll run second. She's about to shout Dad, hesitates, then only tells the protagonist he'll be the anchor. He doesn't catch that she almost said it, and he gets all fired up, thinking. Ross barks at them to hit their starting spots. Her line's right there, and tells Noah not to be scared. Mom will be there soon. The other dads start sliding their kid, one by one. The protagonist plants Noah in the middle and says he'll wait for him at the 3rd leg so he doesn't get hurt. He asks if she'll cheer for her dad. She nods and gives him a quick smack. The moms line up at the start. The announcer kicks off the countdown, and Muan's screaming from the bleacher. The gun cracks, and Ross bursts forward at full tilt. Yahello shouts that the Silver Dragon Queen is in the lead, but a challenger is hot on her heels, Misty, the Electric Dragon Electric. The protagonist is blown away. Someone can actually keep up with Ross. The kid next to him snorts. Sure, silver dragons aren't the only speed demon. He figures the Electric Dragon's reputation is all about fleeing, not fighting, and then the Electric Girl darts past Ross. Yahello throws a question at Duncan. He says it's a tough call, but those 2 clans are the fastest. The other guy laughs. I won't have to sprint that hard. My wife's a beast. The protagonist rolls his eyes. Yeah, your wife's amazing. The guy chuckles. I know. And the protagonist retorts, you haven't seen anything yet. Then Ross flips a switch in his shoe, launches a massive leap, and blows past the other woman in an instant. The other wife is left staring, confused, wondering how the hell does she have that much energy. While Ross barrels ahead, closing in on his daughter, he already slams the bet into Noah, who darts off like a shot. The protagonist flashes a thumbs up, praising her, but she shoots him a look that says, now you're screwed. Other women start closing in on Ross as Noah keeps charging, but the couple's eldest son taunts her as short-legged and overtakes her. From a distance, Mihin shouts encouragement to his dad. In the bleachers, Yahello points out the student has the edge because he's far older. Duncan counters that nothing's decided until the final second. The 2 racers draw level, side by side, but the older kid manages to hand off the bet on a split second sooner. In that instant, the protagonist grabs Noah's behind and bolts, racing toward toward Ross and apologizing for blowing the lead she'd built. Ross grimaces, says it's okay. The kid was way older. Now they can only sprint to the finish and cheer dad. The kid fires up his electric power and rockets forward at full throttle, but Leon is right behind, thinking this kid underestimates how obsessed he is about snagging a week of vacation. Leon manages to stay just a step behind, while Mun rallies his dad, shouting he can't afford to lose like this. The protagonist smiles, saying he can't let his daughter down. He fires up his own electric power and starts overtaking the kid. The opponent sees him coming and decides to shove him, promising to make him taste defeat, but our protagonist plants his foot right at the impact, slides, and the idiot loses his balance and crashes like a fool while he crosses the finish line in first place. He's thrilled, hugs Noah, who calls him dad, and he's pumped. Ross asks how he isn't hurt, and he just says he's fine. But the loser from the other team walks up to the organizers and claims he was shoved on purpose and played dirty. Leon says this damn attacker keeps trying to play the victim. He was the one who tried to strike at the finish with an electric shoulder blow. The protagonist feigns, saying it's not his fault. Then the organizers say they'll have to review everything and better cooperate. Ross and the protagonist glance sideways as Thor, the leader of the electric dragons, approaches. The dad who shoved starts complaining, thinking everything will be okay because the guys from his clan. Thor says he gets the situation and has reviewed the footage with the other judges, and the evidence makes it clear that number 12, Gordon, acted in bad faith, so his result is nullified. The idiot starts whining, demanding a reconsideration, but Thor tells him to shut up. Then he moves toward the protagonist and apologizes for what the kid from his clan did, but she forgives nothing. She tells him he'd better start disciplining his clan members properly. They're lucky his husband was sufficiently smart enough not to get hurt and still win, because otherwise apologies wouldn't cut it. Thor gives the idiot a hard stare and says he'll be disciplined when they get back. The idiot's family leaves, and the protagonist says his wife commands respect. She tells him to stop calling her his wife, but then Yahello announces the next events are about to start. First up is the jump contest to snatch the baby dragon's donut, and it looks like Noah takes it. After that comes a hug competition, and the two rack up another 50 points. There's a quick Q&A, then a food fight showdown, and they announce the family with the most points will walk away with luxury prizes. A little later, they're ushered to a woman who says this is the final round, the love kitchen. Rules are simple. Whip up a family dish brimming with love, but the cuisine is drawn at random. I've got 1 hour, judges will score it, and both are sweating because neither can cook. The protagonist is about to pick his recipe. He hopes for something easy and lands on cream-filled profiteroles, Master Lee's signature. They have no clue how to make them, so the only way is to follow the recipe to the letter. He's shouting, pass the butter, pass the milk, while the Noah finals play on the screen. In her competition, there are 2 Sharklow's clan dragons, 1 Ice clan, and the Silver Dragon. I'll line up so she can forfeit her points, and they comment that for some twisted reason, the other dragons are rallying against Noah. How the hell is she supposed to take on 3 hatchlings solo? The game's about popping the opponent's balloons. She darts under 2, bursts their balloons, then sprints to the last one, popping hers first so she clinches the win. Meanwhile, Mong is on stage cheering her on, talking to some seriously odd dude. The kid's grinning, saying he knew he could pull it off. Ross chimes in, of course she can, she's my daughter. Then the kid spots something on his nose and leans in to wipe it off when suddenly someone yells that the couple is adorable. He assumes it's a random fan, but it's Yahello flashing them on the cameras, and the director praises them, saying a dish made with love isn't just about flavor, it takes care and attention, and this pair is the perfect example. The kid blushes, muttering that Yerk makes him look like a joke. A little later, they finally nail the profiteroles. The director takes a bite, declares the look is spot on, the crust is crisp, the dough buttery smooth, exactly how it should be. He asks how many posts they crank out at home. Ross slugs the kid, who claims they do a ton together, though in his mind, the only time they actually pull something off together is a total joke. The director spots something, notes how hectic their lives are, then demands, what's the secret behind those pastries? Out of nowhere, the two form a heart with their hands, proclaiming it was made with pure love. The director hands out the scores, 10, 9, 8. The kid lights up. That should lock down first place. And sure enough, the leaderboard crowns them number 1. Third place walks away with 10 boxes of Tisboa noodles. Second snags a Class B magical grimoire. And first, our guy's crew scores a 7-day hot spring getaway. But the kid looks anything but thrilled. Hot springs with Ross don't scream relaxing week. Ross is over the moon, bragging to the girls how epic it'll be, while his 7 days of peace evaporate. Later that night, the whole family raises a toast. Mewen hails Dad's hard work. She thanks him, says she's glad they crushed it because it helped her win. Ross shrugs, says they just did the bare minimum. The real workhorse was Noah, and the main kid nods. Yeah, your mom's right. Ross is stewing. Ever since they snagged that 7-day prize, he's been trudging around with his head down. Then Noah suddenly orders everyone to shut their eyes. She squeezes her sister, then her mom, then the main kid, giving a quick hug and whispering, "Thanks, Dad." She snatches his shirt, pulls him close, plants a kiss on his cheek. She thanks him for the support, and he's visibly moved. Mewin asks why his face is flushed. He brushes it off. Cut to Celestial City. The main kid stands by the window, mulling over how his 7-day break has vanished. The kid points, says, "Mom, that dragon looks down." Mom tells him not to stare. Sadness is contagious. He keeps replaying the thought that his vacation's truly gone. Then Rose pops up behind him, asking how he looks. Time to try on swimsuits. She tells him to stop giving polite answers. He flashes a thumbs up, says he'll look fine in anything, so it doesn't matter. But she says this onesie too much fabric. She hates how it covers everything. She picks another that's basically just a few thin threads, and Elite envisions a disaster and nearly faint. He thinks it'd be a nightmare if she shows up in that. People would be blown away. He says maybe it's not really suitable for her. The saleswoman brings more options for the girls, while Ross tells her to cheer up. He may have lost a week of rest and is gonna suffer, but the girls are happy, so he should be too. She glances aside and spots the two grinning, and the lead says, yeah, she's definitely happy. Ross steps up and asks if she'd be happier promising not to touch him for 7 days. He says he doesn't buy it for a second, but the queen raises her hand and swears by the honor of the silver dragon. He replies, all right, so is a deal, but she adds that if he attacks her, he'd better not start making excuses later. He says he'd never do that, and whatever else meant to happen will happen. The next day there in the floating cloud valley. Upon arriving at the lobby at the hotel, a woman asks if they're the Academy's model family, and they say yes. The girls stare at the aquarium while the woman hands over the keys and asks if there's any issue with the room assignment, since she gave them two. The lead instantly realizes the girls will share one room and he'll be stuck in the other with Ross. He knows that's a problem, but Moan assumes he's whining because they didn't get a honeymoon suite and asks if he wants one. He turns and says, no need, forget it. Walking down the hallway, he tries to figure out a way to dodge sharing a room with Ross. He asks the girls if they don't like sleeping with Dad, won't they feel lonely? But Noah tells him to stop trying to bug them. She likes having private space with her sister. The poor kid realizes there's no way out, so Ross hands them the room key and tells them to have fun. Then he turns to the lead and says, stop whining, time to see where they'll be staying. In the room, Ross throws open the window and boasts the view is breathtaking. He asks if she's ever actually been there. She replies she's passed through the city before, but only on silver dragon business, never to relax. That's why she brought her camera to snap some souvenir shots. The lead panic rips open his suitcase and remembers that camera holds the bunny photos. He can't let her find out he took them. It's a secret weapon and something he can't lose. She notices he's clutching it like a treasure and asks what's up. He says he loves taking pictures, always has. That's weird. Didn't you train your whole life to be a dragon hunter? Since when is he a pro photographer? He says she can count on him. He loved photographing that idiot master. That's what he really enjoyed. She agrees. Fine, if that's what he wants. They wander the gardens while the kid snaps photos of them by a statue feeding the animals. Moon demands a toy and Ross strides in, full of swagger. The kid keeps snapping away. He calls the shots perfect, saying their faces look killer. Even Ross glances over and hails him, saying he looks damn good. They're in line for ice cream when Ross spots a plush bear off to the side, and the kid asks what the hell it is. She hands it over, saying it's from Celestial City. He gave her one, so now she hands it back. The kid scoffs. He gave her a massive bear, and she tosses him this tiny thing. She snaps, demanding he give it back. What the hell did he expect? Meanwhile, Mon talks to Noah, whining. She wishes she were more like her sister. Mon asks what she means, and Noah says Mon always gushes about Mom and Dad and wishes she could do more of that. So the story shows Noah hasn't always been the picture of maturity. When they were babies, they were carbon copies. To both, their mother was the ultimate, perfect, all-powerful figure. But one day, Noah saw that perfect mother completely shattered, sad, sobbing, raging, right next to the protagonist's corpse. Since that day, she seized the role of family caretaker, forced herself to grow up fast, become independent, and make Ross's life easier. Now she says Moon acts that way because she can't grasp the complicated stuff, but she's also jealous. Moon hints she gets what Noah means by jealousy, then starts praising her, saying it makes no damn sense. Noah's way smarter, already at the academy, crushing her grades. Noah gets uneasy and says nobody knows what the future holds. It could end up being a total disappointment. Moon asks what she actually wants to become when she grows up. Just then, the two show up and the lead hands them their drinks. Later, fireworks explode, the crowd goes wild, and the lead declares it was worth the trip. He lunges for the camera, insisting they have to lock down the good moments, but Ross has it. He freezes, terrified terrified she'll catch those old shots. He tried developing them, but the resort doesn't even have a lab. His only hope is she never looks, because he's got a stack of fresh pics from today, so he starts scheming. He remembers a stash of candy and tosses it to Ross, but she just snaps, "I'm not letting go of the camera," so he ends up feeding her. She spins around, telling him to back off. Clearly, she's been scrolling through the shot and something feels off. He's been snapping all day, yet not a single picture of himself. She demands at least one together, so no one can say they're strangers. She leans in, they strike a pose. Snap, photo done. The crew laughs, and the lead heads to bed. He strokes Mun gently, noting how much she's grown. She replies with a simple, "I'm happy." They both look satisfied. He's on the verge of speaking, but she drifts off, and he rises to tuck them in. And with that, day one of the trip is done. Or, actually, not quite. There's still one last victim to eliminate. Poor Lion, juggling four-dimensional chess, flops onto the bed, muttering he can finally unwind. Ross asks if he's really going to crash like that with her, and he snaps, no way. He'll take a dip. She can hit the sack. She'll find out where he ends up sleeping later. He's soaking in the hot springs, feeling on top of the world, but already plotting an excuse to ditch Ross. Just then, she shows up, and he asks what she wants. She snaps, "Quit playing scared rabbit. I'm not gonna do anything. I just need to snap a few pics." He wonders where the damn camera is trapped, keeping his mouth shut. Then he spots it nearby, snatches it, and thanks her. But he's terrified she'll see those old shots, so he jumps up and tells her to stay put. He won't join her in the springs. Ross finds it weird. He's convinced of it. He's embarrassed, says since they're here, they might as well enjoy it. She eyes him, warns him to watch his step. If he flips, he could lose control, but the hero scoffs, "You don't get me." He's a bona fide dragon hunter who can handle any temptation. She slams the door and snarls, "Remember what you just said." Meanwhile, he chills, convinced it's just a soap. Nothing's gonna happen. As long as he can guard those pictures, nothing else matters. After a while, he glances back and she walks in wearing something perfectly ordinary, a full coverage swimsuit. He laughs. "Your so-called sexy get-up is weak, total pink fluff." Rose smirks. "You look damn sure of yourself, but you should have known this was my sister's top-tier gift." She chuckles. "My brother, yeah, my sis has weird taste." There in the pool, he thinks, thank God it hides everything, but she catches his sideways stare and demands, "What are you thinking?" He's about to answer, but then he flinches, telling her to look down. Turns out his sister's gift had a trick whatever it starts melting the instant it hits the water. She instantly covers herself, realizing she should have known an Isabeau gift isn't that simple. But honestly, she grins, this is perfect. She leans in, asks if he's shocked. He spins around, says no, but he could try something else, except now the villain's on the offensive, testing whether the dragon hunter's pride will crack. He's burning from the friction, realizing the situation's getting deadly. He wants her to back off, yet he already knows her three-step game. She always starts by taunting him, calling him scared, saying he can't face her. Then she moves to the second seduction phase, and when he finally falls, she blames him. You couldn't resist. Realizing she's already past the first move, he decides to play along. He says, "No, I'm not interested. Whatever you throw at me, my seal will flare first." Because when the seal lights up on the other, it means you're into it. So he claims she'll be the one to cave first. She snaps, "Shut up. I can control whatever I want." She's never lost control. The hero scoffs. "I don't buy that." Does she really have the guts to take the challenge? She smirked. Of course, it'll be a breeze. He asks what happens if she loses. She replies, "If you lose, you get a 7-day vacation," and he lights up. Perfect. She took the bait. Fireworks start blasting. She points. "Look, those bursts look just like the seal's glow." He locks onto the firework, thinking, if I don't glance sideways, nothing will hit me. He can't look at her at all and must dodge visual stimulation like his life depends on it. But she begins to sing. Keep your eyes glued, but she starts crooning. "Hey, star, where you at?" The dragon's seal flares while he sits with his eyes shut. She claims she lost. The dragon's glow fades, and when he sees her lie, he nearly collapses and shouts, "Stop the damn lying." She's trying to play this twisted game to seduce him. Then she realizes that if she keeps resisting, she'll lose. She goes on the offensive, grabs his tail, and asks what she thinks she's doing. He says it's a special occasion. If they're not gonna hold hands, at least he'll hold her tail. She snaps, tells him to let go. She'll slap him, but he pulls her closer. The queen is fighting, telling that idiot to quit the act. Then she says, fine, forget it. She doesn't need to hold his tail. If he wants to hold hands, they can do it together. The protagonist is confused. So simple. Why is his heart pounding? They clasp hands, and the guy almost overheats, smoke puffing from his head. She leans in and tells him to quit resisting so hard. Why don't you let the symbol fire already? It'll be better for both of us. He thinks he can stay defensive or he'll lose, and she'll end up blaming him, so he decides to strike. Yanks her by the waist and says resisting wasn't fun. She knows she's holding back too, and suddenly, both symbols flare up, just like that video that helps Mamoru crank out juicier content for his fans. She flips the naughty little bell, and I'm out.